Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mer Hersoner podcast, season 3, episode 7, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Back to Twitter again. It's Thursday, November 10th, 2022. I'm your host, Vic and Mike, and as always, I'm joined by my never-aging co-host, Mr. Mike Balyan, where we discuss our great Armenian history, covering different eras, topics, and people.
What a generous thing to say.
You don't age. What do you want me to say? Thank you to everyone who's joining us live tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, share, and make sure you're subscribed. And if you're watching us on Facebook, like it and share it with friends and family. I do want to mention that now you can actually become or join our YouTube channel. There's a little join button there, and you get a bunch of perks. So click on that, learn more about it. And now you can do super chats with us, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
We've unlocked the magic box.
Yeah. We have a very special episode today. Joining us in the studio is Canadian-Armenian photographer Hrayr Baze Khacheryan, right?
Khacheryan.
Yes. Khacheryan. And we'll be discussing the lost treasures of Artsakh and Julfa, also known as Jua in Armenian. Haku has published more than 15 books. 16 now. Sorry.
Correct.
16. Thank you for correcting me. Your profile said 15. You need to update it.
Yes.
Book albums about
Serious.
yeah.
That's why he's
book albums about Armenia, Artsakh, and Western Armenia since the 90s. Hawk has, the word is hovered, right?
Yes,
in the
correct.
skies of Armenia. And was one of the first photographers to take aerial shots of Armenia, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So,
By helicopter, yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, boys.
No problem.
Thank
All the
you.
way from Canada.
Yes.
All right. You came here just for us.
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah.
Special.
We'll get to why he's here. We'll get
Yes.
this.
Again, Hawk, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and as far as our audience, if you guys don't know about him, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, where you were born and where you grew up?
As you know, date of birth is 20th of April, 1961. That's when 9 months before my dad and my mom did something. And I was born in Beirut, Lebanon.
Uh-huh.
Out of those places that you can choose, I was born in Beirut, Lebanon. My grandparents were from Zeytun,
Okay.
which is Cilicia, and
Yeah.
my parents took me to Jerusalem when I was 4 years young,
Wow,
and I have a tattoo here, 1965.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I guess that's why they called me Khacheryan. You know,
As that
They crossed me.
that tattoo, you didn't do it when you were 4.
yes, they did it when I was
When you were 4 years
Yes,
old?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Wow.
heard about this. I've heard about this.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then I was interested in flying when I was a kid at school, at Saint Gregoire School,
Okay.
Or Saint Gregory in English if you want, or Surki Korlusavoric in
Yeah.
Beirut, Lebanon. And I started photography when I was 13, and I was photographing my kids' friends, you know, like my student colleagues. And then I used to break my chair and make a flying stick.
So you had
Kind
a
of.
flight simulator.
Yes.
Okay.
Man-made flight simulator.
And I was always sent to see the principal, and my mother was summoned all the time, and then she would have been told by my director or the professors that I am on the moon. And I was always looking at the moon, and I would say, "Why are you calling me? I'm on the moon when I'm here." So flying was my hobby, and
Yeah.
it was my dream. And usually, when you dream, your dreams come true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what better place than to come to the land of opportunity, the United States of America, Hayward, California, in 1982, to become a pilot. So I became a pilot for.
Now, did you come with the family or
No,
just by
all
yourself?
by
Okay.
myself.
Okay.
My mom wasn't interested in flying.
Yeah. she didn't want to take the test.
She tried all her best not to send me, but she
Yeah.
paid for my tuition.
Okay.
So I owe it.
As long as it's paid for.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So flying was my hobby, and it became a reality in Hayward, California. And I landed on every and each airport in California.
Even the
The
obsolete
dirt
ones.
Yes, even the dirt ones, the ones that didn't have even
Way out in the desert.
Yes.
How was the lighting situation?
Clear.
I mean, well, at
Visual.
nights. Did you land at
not
nights?
Visual lighting.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was always visual
interesting.
flight.
Wow.
So from 1984, no, 82 to 83, I became a pilot, a commercial pilot in California. And I also became a certified flight instructor.
Okay.
And I was teaching my first student to become a pilot. And usually I would tell him, okay, turn right. And he would turn left. And I would tell him the other left, the other right. But
And then what happened?
and then what happened is my mom called me back, says, you got to come back. It's not easy.
Verch.
Yeah, that's it. So
That's
I
it.
packed and then I went back to Lebanon to become a pilot in Lebanon. When I approached the airline, they said, you have to take a bag for us from time to time in order to work for us. I said, no, I'm not going to become a mule for you.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
80s.
Yeah, of course, yes.
So I was forced to sell shoes for 1 year at my cousin's place and earn enough money to buy my next flight ticket.
Back to America.
Back to America, the land of opportunity.
Yes.
But the land of opportunity, you needed a working visa. I didn't have one. And I didn't want to get married.
Yeah.
So I went and paid a visit to the person who gave me the nickname Hawk.
Uh-huh. And who is this person?
That person is Jamie Ledbetter.
Okay.
Oh, we got to
Tell
go
us,
a little
tell
bit
us,
back.
tell us about
Yeah,
it.
how I got that, right?
Yeah.
We didn't have Facebook then.
Yeah.
You don't even remember that you didn't have Facebook.
Of course we do.
Of course I do. What do you mean? I'm Generation X.
Yeah. With Facebook?
No, not with Facebook.
Without Facebook.
Without Facebook.
So how did you communicate with the world?
cares?
We called each other houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happens if it was
Baron us, come digging us, is so and so home.
Okay, but if
Come outside
if,
and
you-
play.
if you were in Lebanon and you wanted to get in touch with a student in the United States, for example,
You
what
write
would
them a letter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Bravo, Vic.
Oof.
That's what happened, and we used to call that pen paling.
Pen paling. Yeah.
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 I had a pen pal in the Philippines when I was in elementary.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Huh.
Mhm.
I was a teenager. I think I might have had a couple in Denmark
And
because of hockey.
Yeah.
Friends,
Yeah.
We'd write each other.
so here you go. I'm writing to Jamie. I say, Jamie, I was born in Lebanon and I love flying, and this is what we do at school, etc. And then I would send the letter and wait 6 months to get a reply back.
Yeah.
It's not like Instagram. Like you get a quick response
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah.
So
Sometimes.
yes.
Sometimes.
So what she said is, Hrayr Khacheryan is a little bit awkward for me. Can you find yourself a nickname? I said, sure, I can find you a nickname. I love the bird hawk. It's a bird of prey.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly what I do. I
Yeah.
like to fly. I like to see clearly, and I like to hunt, like hunt with your eyes,
Yeah.
not with the camera also. So she says, yeah, hawk sounds good. So she started writing mail and saying, dear hawk, this is what we're doing at the school in Michigan, and etc. And then I would sign off my letters with after saying, dear Jamie, this is what we're doing, and I would say sincerely hawk. And when I wanted to become a pilot here, they asked my name, and I used to say, my name is Hawk. So my instructor would say, his name was Art Smith.
Mhm.
Art would say, okay, Hawk, we're flying today. And then when the time came to become, what was it? Not the student, first private pilot license. Okay. In order to get the private license, I had the lady who was in charge of checking me out.
Mm-hmm.
She says, okay, you passed the test. Now congratulations, you're going to become a private pilot, and here's your license. And then she says, but in your passport, there's no Hawk. And everybody was calling you Hawk. I said, yeah, right. So I went and applied for it, and it became my nickname. And it's officially actually in my passport in all.
It says Hrayr
that's-
Hawk Khacheryan.
That's
Yes.
some
Oh, wow,
Top
that's
Gun.
awesome.
That's like
Yeah.
some Top Gun type of.
Yes.
Huh.
So, what motivated you to get into photography?
Photography. The first question that I asked one of my friends while at school, when I was 13, his elder brother was in the printing business, so he was printing in a lab.
Yeah.
So I told him, listen, this is magical. What's the process of getting all these images from a negative? How does it work? He says, oh, no, that's too complicated for you. I said, oh, it's too complicated for me.
Yeah.
So I took the challenge. So I bought, my first camera was a 110 camera with a cassette that you slide it
Yeah.
in. And then I started taking pictures of,
The good old days.
yes, my friends. And then I started slowly changing from 110, switching from 110 to 35 millimeter.
Okay.
And that's how it picked up. And I was very curious. In the beginning, I was photographing everything from guys playing football to trees. I still take pictures of trees, by the way.
Yeah.
And then it picked up. And while I was taking pictures from the airplane, aerial photography in Hayward, while flying in California, it became more and more than a hobby.
Became passion.
It became a passion, and I had the eye for it, they said.
Yeah.
And when I was running low on cash and I had to pay my tuition for my flights, the school said, Hawk, you have two options. Either you work somewhere else and you bring us the cash, or you can do aerial photography for us that we could use in our catalogs. I said, fine, I'll do
Oh
that.
wow.
And
That's a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's,
And-
why not?
And I was also cleaning the airplanes.
Okay.
So washing a little bit.
That's
not
not bad.
Yeah.
It's best of both worlds.
Yeah. Good hard work, you know?
Yeah. And
It grounds you.
that's it. And when I went to Canada, photography picked up slowly, and I worked for Gamma Press Agency in Paris in 1985, 86. And then we opened up our own store, photography store, studio, doing wedding photography, baptism, etc. So it went on and on.
Now, you I mean, you know, we were talking off air. You've taken over 1 million, you know, photos
And counting.
and counting.
And counting. yeah.
Now, what made you in the early 90s get into taking pictures of Armenia and churches? Can you talk about that a little bit? What was your motivation behind that?
Actually, I was photographing for Gamma Press Agency, and there was a demonstration by the Armenian community of Montreal in front of the Russian consulate, and they were holding banners saying Artsakh is ours. And I approached them. I said,
during that time,
1988.
Yeah.
So I said, what is Artsakh? They said, well, it's a land that belongs to the Armenians, and Armenians are living there, and they want independence, etc. I said, have you been there? They said, no. I said, do you know the culture, the churches, or whatever they have there? No, they don't have it. So I said, why are you demonstrating then, if you haven't seen all those? So it was something of a curiosity for me.
Yeah.
And in 1992, it was my first chance to go and visit Armenia and Artsakh for the first time. 3 days later, I was in the war zone. And I started photographing with Merujan Mosian, who got killed in 1993. So we went all over Artsakh and photographed the war. And then what's really interesting about the churches is during the war that I was photographing, a gentleman by the name of Levon, about 61 or 62 of age, he gave me a book in Marduni region.
Yeah.
And it was about the Armenian churches of Artsakh. And I said, why is this guy who doesn't know me is gifting me a book about Armenian churches?
Yeah.
And I went into the basement because I knew from Lebanon that when there's fighting, usually the fight intensifies at night so that they can kill as many civilians as possible. So I used to go to the basement directly, and they used to laugh that, why are you going to the basement where they're not shelling? And a few hours later,
Sure
everybody
enough,
would
yeah.
join me. So, but at that time, I was reading with a candlelight that book. And then I said to Merush, why don't you take me to one of these churches which are really close by? Imagine in the wartime, he was a commander of one of the
Like one of the platoons.
platoons
Yeah,
in Mardoni. He said, okay, in 2 days we'll go there. So we went there and I photographed my first church in Artsakh. And then you will see it in my book.
Okay.
So that's what happened.
Wow. That's so
And
interesting.
that's how it started.
Yeah.
How, I have a question. That individual you were talking about that passed away.
Levon.
Yeah.
Oh,
how,
no, Merush Mosian.
yeah. How long did you know him before that happened?
I didn't know him.
We
We just met.
just met, and then the
and we
tragedy
bonded.
occurred.
We bonded
Yeah.
for almost 3 weeks. We were together in a Jeep. And in 1992, while I was being treated for cancer, he had his Jeep actually blew up on a landmine.
Wow.
5 people were killed. Yeah.
Now, obviously, today we're going to talk about the lost treasures of Artsakh. We're going to show some amazing photography, and then we're going to get into the Hachkars of Julfa, and then after that, we're actually going to cover Isfahan, right?
Sure.
Some amazing churches, which is in Iran. I guess it's called New
Julfa.
New Julfa or Jula.
Yeah, Julfa in Armenia.
But you traveled the entire world and took pictures of Armenian churches all over, and not just
48
Armenia.
countries, yes.
Yeah, 48 countries.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit before we get into this?
Sure. In 1992, after photographing the war in Artsakh and bringing all those images, I had an exhibition at the end of 1992, and I was feeling really weak. During the exhibition, I was kind of sleeping on the table because I couldn't hold myself. I was too weak. I was thinking that because of the trip, etc. But it turned out that I had lung cancer, which was really moving very fast.
Oh,
And around April, I passed out. My wife took me to the hospital, and when I woke up, I was in the bed, and the doctor was next to me, and he said, "You have 10 days to die, sir."
and how old were you at this time?
32.
32 years old.
I said, "Hold it. I have 2 daughters. They're gonna go to school. Maybe they're gonna get married. Maybe I'm gonna have kids, grandkids." Says, well, all I can tell you that you're almost finished. And there was a cross from my bed, across my bed, and I said, if I get out of here, I'll photograph the Armenian churches around the globe. I didn't know then what kind of a vow I was making. So when I got out, I opened the directory and I started asking questions, and then I found out that there are Armenian churches in South America, Argentina, Brazil, Uruguay, Venezuela, in the Far East, in the Middle East, in Europe, in Africa. I said and it took me about exactly 20 years to accomplish this vow, and I published a book called One Church, One Nation. And after publishing it, I said, I'm glad I didn't make a vow to sacrifice a lamb or something.
That too cheap.
Yeah, that would have been cheap and quick.
Yeah.
And actually, that's what took me, kept me in this mission. So
Now that book, One Church, One Nation, is that available?
no, it's almost sold out.
It's almost sold
I have
out.
only 3 copies left.
Okay. Now, are you thinking of reprinting it?
I'll fight you for it.
You don't have a library, I do.
I can build one.
Are you gonna 3D print
Right
it?
now. Yes. Tomorrow, yesterday.
Well, before we get into the main
Yeah.
topic, by the way, we are thankful you're still here with us because
Yes.
you have done some amazing work and continue to do some amazing work. So we want to show a little video, which is kind of like a profile video about
Yes.
you, and you guys should see the aerial shots too. And a fair warning to anybody who's going to be listening to us later on the podcast. There are some visual videos and stuff that we're going to show. We will edit. We recommend for you guys to watch this later on, but we'll edit this part because obviously it won't make sense on the podcast. So here we go. Well,
Damn.
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Now, I want to mention something.
Yes.
Earlier in the show, yeah, you have your jacket with you. He goes, why don't you hold this? It is heavy. You have so much, I guess, batteries and equipment and
Yes.
stuff in there. And did you guys see him? He had all that on and he was trying to climb these places.
Jump like a goat.
Yeah.
My mom used to call me goat when I was a kid.
By the way, we got some people who are saying hi to Peter. Says, Hawk, I miss you, brother.
Hi.
Peter Balawanyan. He's an old friend from Canada.
Montreal,
Yeah,
yes.
you guys grew
Hi,
up.
Peter.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody who's joining us right now live. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. That was incredible. We're gonna get into starting with Artsakh, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is the images we're gonna show as part of a book that you put together.
The latest
correct?
one that
the
I
latest
published,
one,
yes.
and this is called.
Artsakh, the photographer's eye.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
It was published in November 2021. So
Okay. Well, before I bring that up, those, I mean, first of all, I kind of, out of jealousy, the fact that you got to go to all these places and take pictures and
videos.
videos.
I have to ask you. So it was you and how many people were accompanied you? That's it.
that's it. Lilith Khacheryan was my assistant.
Was videoing
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Okay. And all the drone shots and
Yes.
everything.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I was about to ask. Like
And-
drone shots too.
But this has been going on since 1997. Mr. Ashjan, the Archbishop, took me to Western Armenia for the first time.
Okay.
And he passed away, of course. And he opened my eyes, actually, to Western Armenia. And Zaven Sarkisian took me to Ani in 1992 on the Armenian side. So I photographed Ani from the borderline. And I didn't know anything about Ani. And it was really interesting to start the mission to teach myself Armenian history and Armenian architecture and religion. So it was really something else.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at
Did you
those
did
shots.
you
I
ever
mean-
did you ever get to go to inside Ani or just
Yes,
from
yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
many
yeah,
times.
Yeah.
Akhtamar that you saw,
Yeah.
31 trips.
Are you really?
31, yes.
31 trips. How was it difficult to go there as far as
No, it's difficult. It's a touristic site right now, but I've seen it before and during and after the reconstruction of Akhtamar, which
Okay.
is a jewel of the Armenian architecture from the 10th
Yeah.
century,
yeah.
the Holy Cross Church.
Yeah. And you know, we were talking about this before. You did end up going to Portasar.
Yes,
Okay.
that's near Urfa. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
of the oldest.
Yeah, I mean, it's about 11,000, over 11,000 years
Yeah.
old. How's the atmosphere there when you get there?
Well, the space is fantastic, as if you're landing
Well, the spaceship.
on a
Yeah,
spaceship
yeah.
with a flying saucer or something. And actually, that's how it looks like.
Yeah.
It's round and as if some kind of flying saucer would come and sit. It's amazing because we saw it before they closed the roof on top.
Okay.
In the beginning, so
They tented it up,
They
basically.
tented it up,
Got
yes.
it. Yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting site.
Yeah.
That's one of our dreams to hopefully get to go
Yeah.
see that because
All of
they're
it.
discovering so much about Portasar and its construction and the
Too many
fact that
theories.
not the stairs. They're realizing now that this was actually covered on purpose to protect it from something. And with special radars and things like that, discovered how deep they have to
Yeah.
go to actually
Yeah,
get to it.
ground
And they're
penetrating.
saying that from the construction, which was 11,600 years ago, it was preserved for 1,000 years, and then during that 1,000th year, it was purposely covered.
yes,
Very interesting. So that something I'm
That's
so
yeah,
like
destination.
wonder-
That-
yeah.
that's
wonder what they would-
you
Yeah.
have to go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring up the pictures here, and so this is the cover of the book, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you guide me as
Yes.
far as what you want to do. So if you want to talk about this a little bit.
This gentleman is from a village near Lachin, the area that we seceded to the Azeris in 2020. And just recently we gave the rest of Lachin as well.
Mm-hmm.
And this gentleman was going to work. And what's really interesting is it's January the 1st and he's working. and so is the photographer. This tells you something. The photographer
Yeah.
doesn't stop. The gentleman doesn't stop. I love working. I love photography. And this image was taken with the Leica, with the black and white Kodak film. And it's one of my favorite shots. And no matter what happens, this gentleman is Armenian, and he's going to stay there. He was born there. He lives there, and he will die there in Artsakh. And that's why I chose this image.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Beautiful shot. Now let's go to this shot. Right?
Okay,
You
this
talk about
one,
this.
you just saw a short clip about hawk climbing the ladder, a heavy ladder,
yes.
metal ladder.
I love how you
yeah.
refer to
Yeah,
yourself
third
in third person.
Yes.
The hawk?
Yes,
No.
not the
Not
hawk.
the
Hawk.
hawk.
Yes.
Not the hawk.
Yes, and then in photography, you have really to understand light. You have to understand the
Yes.
structure. A lot of photographers probably don't know that Armenian churches are built east to west. East is usually the Quran, the altar,
Yeah.
and west is usually the entrance. And this crucifixion is very unique. And if you look at it, it's beautifully lit. And you can only photograph it between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock because the sun will be hitting it from at an angle
Little
so that
past
you
high
have a
noon.
3D effect.
Yeah.
Since you are into
Yes,
the 3D,
yes.
3D effect.
Yeah, I understand
you
a little bit of lighting.
Yeah.
Maybe not as good as you, but
Yeah. So in let's say an hour later, the sun will hit it directly, and you will not get the details of this image.
So it has to be at a precise time.
Yes, yes.
yeah, pay attention to like all the
Yeah.
shadows that are being
Yeah.
cast and whatnot. It really pulls things out.
Yeah.
Dynamic.
Wow, that's
Right.
amazing.
Next. You will see that I have red and blue or greenish blue, I would say. All the red is the pages that the territories that we lost or we have given back
to them as theirs,
yes,
yeah.
because of the Treaty of 2020. The defeat was, very painful, especially for me because I
course.
was,
The connection.
Yes.
I mean,
since 1992, I've been photographing Artsakh, and it was really difficult to see all these places that I have flown, photographed from a helicopter, and walked actually, and all.
the friendships you've made, the
yes.
relationships you've made, 28
Yeah.
years. That's a long
Yeah.
time. Wow.
Yeah.
Can't imagine that.
Yeah. Next. Okay, this is the same gentleman.
This is the same guy.
you see.
Okay,
Yes,
got
the
it,
same
got it.
gentleman.
Great
He
shot.
says, he said, "This is my village," and in the back, you see a white building. That's actually the church that the Azeris had tried to destroy before 1988. So here you go. So the Azeris had the tendency of destroying anything and everything that is Armenian.
Yeah.
Or defacing or changing the
till this
history
day,
and
yeah.
telling that it's Albanian,
Yeah.
come on, don't kid yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's the biggest, call it the BS in the world. I
Yes,
mean,
yes,
yes.
I mean, they can't call it theirs, so they
No,
they
they can't.
attach to another
They're-
culture
they're-
that
they're
doesn't
trying to-
even
that doesn't
Exactly.
even exist anymore.
or
Yeah.
even connection with them. So, right.
Galchan, that you have interviewed.
Ruben
recently,
Galchan,
Ruben
yeah,
Galchan,
the photographer.
he had to write a little bit of history about Artsakh, and I'm grateful to him.
And this is his.
Yes,
his
that's it. That's his text. And the green is what's left of Artsakh.
Artsakh, yeah.
The orange was what we had conquered or captured in the
That was-
1992-1994 war,
Yeah.
and we couldn't keep
Let's
it.
call liberated.
Liberated,
Yeah.
too, yes. Next. The beauty of Artsakh is amazing. What you see here is the mountain range of Murav, where the Azeris are holding the position on the other side, and the Armenians are keeping this side.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. That's so
So
interesting.
that's the borderline, actually. The flag. A lot of people probably don't know that an Armenian from Syria by the name of Fatal, he was the designer of this
Of Artsakh flag.
of the Artsakh flag. Yes.
That I didn't know.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Yeah. We have two major rivers in Artsakh, Tartar and Khachen.
That's a beautiful
Yeah.
shot. One on the right.
These are very historic shots now because these land have been given back because it's in the Kalbajar region, and it's the lakes. One is taken in the summertime, one is taken in the springtime before the snow completely melts.
Yeah.
And it's from this position that they are attacking the Jermuk site, which is very close to Jermuk here.
Okay.
So I've
That's funny. That's summertime, yet there's still some
yes,
snow.
yes,
It's
spring.
It's really
Yeah.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah. Which we know that the Azeris can't handle that. So this
These
is
are some of the same lake from a different angle,
yeah.
and some of the local Armenians then living in tents. And
So they
working.
live there in
Yes.
in tents. Like
Yes.
is it temporary or
Yeah, it was temporary because they were using only to collect feed for the animals.
Okay, yeah. So
for
they're
the herd.
harvesting.
Yes,
Okay, got
yeah.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The tree that you see on the left is an old tree, and it dates more than 2,000 years. And that's the book actually on the right side. That's the book that Levon donated to me, gifted me as actually in Marduni region in 1992. And I found out that that tree was already in that book. And that's why you will see that I dated it 2040 something.
Yeah.
Because in the book it says 2000 and something, and I added the days, the years that I,
Oh man.
I was there, and I photographed it.
Now, everybody who's watching, we highly recommend you guys, if you can watch this on your TV or cast it to your TV to see the beauty and the details of these pictures that are in this book. Now, you did some kind of a seminar
Yes,
recently.
a presentation
at
the Ararat Eskijian Museum,
Okay,
and Maggie Goshen invited me over to talk about my latest book and also about my travels in Jua and the Hachkars that we'll be talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. All right, so let's go to the next slide.
Okay, that's Agdam, seen from the Kranagert. As you know, Agdam was also given back, and that's the monastery also given back to the Azeris.
Now, that wide shot of Aldam,
I know.
Yes.
what's the population as far? Do you know how many people live there?
No, they used to live there.
Well, used to.
Yeah,
Used to.
it's got to be more than 10,000.
10,000 people.
More than.
Wow. And just like that.
Yes. And that's the Kranagert, the excavations by Hamlet Bedrosian from Armenia, and some of the excavation materials that they had discovered, and those were taken to Armenia.
Now, did this section go back to them?
Yes, this was also given to.
That whole area.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's Hamlet Bedrosian working with his team, and those are the excavations of the Kranagert.
Now, my question is, how do we protect this, even though it's there?
Oh, you can't. It's in
Azeri hands down.
Azeri hands now.
That's it.
It's finished.
Oh.
They'll rewrite history now. That's Amaras, the first monastery, which was demolished, plundered at least 3 times by Seljuk, Mongols, Arabs, you name it. And in the late 19th century, it used to be the Russian and Persian customs house. So it was not used as a church
Yeah.
in the 19th and 20th century. So in my book, you will see the dates when it was used as a church and it was rebuilt after each destruction. And here, the mausoleum of the grandchild of Mesrop Mashtots, who was the creator of Armenian alphabet.
Yeah.
And the first school in Artsakh was built here at Amaras. Again, Amaras from helicopter shots.
Helicopter shot, yeah.
And on the far right is the Armenian alphabet with the numbers. So usually on Hachkars and manuscripts, you will see that the Armenians dated according using actually the Armenian alphabet. So I is 1, J, etc., and then you will add them up at 551, and you will get the dates of today. That are all detailed in the book. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Now, where can people get this book?
They can get it from myself if they write at hrayr@gmail.com, and from Hrayr Baze Khacheryan Museum as well.
Directly. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They can buy it from there.
And also from St. Leon's Cathedral as well.
Oh, yeah, the church right here
yes,
on
the church
Burbank,
right
like
here.
it's in Burbank. Okay.
This is Daddy Bank. Again, early morning photography after waking up in the village. Again, unfortunately, we cannot reach this place now.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
There was a moment that we thought it was going to be
Yeah.
still on our part, and then
No,
it was handed over.
because it's on the fringe of Kalbejar
Yeah,
or Karvajar in Armenian.
so frustrating thinking about this.
What's interesting in this book is I have dated the images that I have taken throughout the years. For example, the image on the far left below, you will see that I took the image in 1994. And people can go through my images and see when I took those specific images.
And also talks about how old these churches are, right?
Of course,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I mean, these go.
A brief description about the church or the monastery and who built it.
Now, most of these churches in Artsakh that you took, how far do they date back?
Well, Amaras was from the 4th century. So imagine, it was destroyed 3 times and rebuilt 3 times.
3 times. Wow.
Yes.
4th century.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the time of where, that's the beginning of Christianity, the first 100 years of Christianity in Armenia.
We've talked about it. We talked about it with Gevorg, remember?
Yeah.
The history of Artsakh episode that we had.
Yeah.
And how far it dates back.
Again, here we see 2 restorers from Italy. They've restored the frescoes. You see the image on the left, almost grayish, and then after restoration, all the image is bright and shining.
How was it restored?
How was it? Because they're professionals from Italy. They know how to restore old
paintings.
old paintings,
Okay.
old frescoes. And again, before and after the restoration work. And also the 2 tallest Hachkars that you see in Artsakh were held in the bell tower, belfry, let's say, of Dadivank. And because of the war and because we had to secede this monastery, the Armenians took these 2 Hachkars to Echmiadzin so that they're not
So we do
destroyed.
have it.
Yes, we do have it. We do
Okay.
have it.
Perfect.
But what's also an interesting story about, you see, in a book, when you see the beautifully lit images, you think, oh, it's so easy. You put a tripod, lights, etc., and you take an image. But if you look at these 2 Hachkars, they are housed inside a bell tower where you don't have enough space to back up and to take those images. And on top of that, the sun, when it hits,
I was about to ask about the lighting.
yeah, look at the lights.
And that's it. This is, it's amazing.
It cannot be like that because the sun, if it hits, it's only partially hit, like lit. Like only the lower part will be lit, and not the top part. So what I did is bring my artificial lights, and at night, with my tripod, came to the monastery in order to photograph. But in order to reach the monastery, I had to avoid the attacking dogs. So you don't
With
see
all that equipment.
Yes, with all that equipment, and you don't see that in the pictures,
Yeah.
but you see the details of those. Beautiful.
Was your assistant there filming that?
No, actually, I was alone,
okay.
and
It would have been a nice blooper
Yeah.
shot at the end.
yeah, I know, but that was pitch dark, and I couldn't see almost.
All right. Well, we're glad you got to get
Yeah,
the
again,
pictures.
these are some additional photographs of
Oh,
that
beautiful
event.
shots.
Yeah, and
Those are
you see all the Armenian
That one's
inscription.
really,
Yeah,
really cool. That upshot
yeah.
of the facade.
And again, I think the Azeris should learn Armenian. I think they know exactly what that it's Armenian, but
Oh yeah.
they,
I mean,
they keep saying it's Armenian. Come on,
no.
Yeah.
They know it.
Somebody's
That's it.
teaching.
Okay, this is it. This is the first monastery photograph. You remember I told you I was in the hiding from the shells and I was reading the book. So this is Yerisheguis, actually, monastery or the church that I photographed in 1992, and then later on when it was restored. And what I really hate is snakes. And on the right side, you will see there was
you see it right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
you-
take a look. It's a great shot. You caught the snake on
yeah,
the tree.
but the snake was right above me. You know,
Well,
when I was
I
taking pictures of the church, and you know, I hate snakes. That's
That looks like a big boy too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's poisonous, by the way.
Well,
Most of them.
you should join my wife's club. She hates snakes
Yeah,
too. She's
So-
terrified.
So does Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Viken says Russia working out a deal. We might get Artsakh back. Viken, I don't know about that. I mean, I hope that's
To God's ears, man.
Yeah, I hope so. We have some comments. We have Meg saying, "I hope the land never gives them rest." We all hope so. You know.
From your mouth to God's ears, Meg.
Yeah. Arvin says your photos are great document for historians to prove that Armenians have been there and not Caucasian Christian.
Yes, of course they're not
Yeah.
Caucasian. Come on, let's wake up.
It's funny. We've done so many episodes and we've talked about the Albanians that they're not even the Albanians that people think of. This race doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Yeah, they disappeared sometime. What was it, like 2nd or 3rd century?
Yeah. So there's some remnants of it, but they don't even know. what
They scattered and that was it. You know, Iberia and Albania vanished.
Oh,
Look at this shot.
Yeah, this is
Oh
so,
my God. I want to
so
go there right now.
breathtaking, but at the same time, it's so sad because it's in Hadrut region, the southern part, and from here you can see all the way to the Murav mountain range. You remember I showed you in the beginning, so you can see it actually from here all the way to the north.
How high is this?
2,000 feet approximately.
I mean, the average height in and around that area is somewhere around like 3,000 to 4,000 that I know. That's the average.
Yeah.
But
I mean, was this for the locals that are around there? Is this a common place to go
Pilgrimage site, yeah.
to as far as to light a candle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was commonly used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's really good is the following picture that you will see now. In 1997, I published my first book about Artsakh, and it's called A Photographic Journey. And you see that lady, the kid,
Yeah.
and 20 years later, I found her in Hadrut again.
you're kidding.
Yeah, so I had photographed her when she was a kid, and I found her 20 years later
In Hadrut again.
In Hadrut again, and we made a pilgrimage to Katarovank, which is this one that you see.
That is amazing.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, it was really tough. It's like finding a person in a haystack, you know?
Can I ask you, when you go into
You
these?
didn't get it, you know? It's not the needle. You know?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm so like into the pictures right now. When you go into these churches, especially the ones that are so old and they're trying to preserve it, like this one right here. Like,
Yeah.
what is when you walk in there? What kind of feeling do you get? Like,
Well, it's mutual. You know, it's not only the human being who's reaching out or making a pilgrimage. It's actually the foundation, the church itself is also alive.
Yeah.
When someone is making a visit. So whenever they say, "Oh, we lost,"
welcoming you.
yeah. So whenever the people say, "Oh, why are you going to Western Armenia? We lost it. It's not ours." It's. But I tell them, listen. Every time you are on the ground, the ground is greeting you. The place is welcoming you.
Your roots are there.
Yes, and you feel very comfortable. Actually,
Yeah.
you might be angry, but that doesn't mean that it's not.
Home's home,
yours.
doesn't
Yes,
matter. You
yes.
know.
Oh, this is a sad image because the person that you see is Zaven Sarkisian, the museum director of Parajanov, and a close friend of mine for 27 years. Since 1992, we've been friends and we've been crisscrossing throughout Artsakh, Armenia, and Western Armenia and Cilicia. And he was the one who,
Are you talking
pushed
about
me.
the Parajanov Museum in Yerevan?
Yes.
Yeah. Been there a couple times.
Yes, and he pushed me actually towards photographing the Armenian churches because he loved them, you know. And this image is taken at the Arax River, and that's actually the borderline between Artsakh and northern Iran. That land was captured in 2020, and it's really sad to see him in that image. He passed away from COVID and also
Recently,
cancer.
yeah.
Yes. This is an aerial shot. Actually, these are aerial shots of the Kalbajar, not the Kalbajar region, the Lachin region. And it's the Dizernavank of 7th century that was also restored. And you will see on the image on the right, it's before restoration work. On the left is after restoration work. And I was really lucky because I was able to get permission from the military to fly Mi-8 military helicopters, 7 to 8 flights during those 20 years.
Yeah.
And I was able to photograph when there were no drones to use. So these images are really archival right now.
Of course.
And
now, you flew them yourself? Or?
No. I was hanging. Actually, I was hanging from an open door of a helicopter with a thin wire tethered to the door. So if I fell, I would have been hanging from the door. No parachute.
Oh wow!
But I remember
but you had a calling.
Yes, someone said
to do
someone
to get
said
the
it's,
shot.
yeah, someone
you
said
have
it's
to do
best
to
to
get the shot.
die on the job than
Love.
in bed. Yes.
Love.
Of course.
Look at the terrain on that. Gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have those of you who are joining us live, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in the live chat. I know we're all mesmerized at these pictures, looking at them together, but feel free to ask any questions or thoughts, statements. And to those of us who, again, will be listening this to our podcast platform tomorrow when we upload this, again, guys, we highly recommend to watch it. We'll have the link of the YouTube because it just, you know, I don't know,
Yeah.
like listening to it, I don't think it makes sense.
Your eyes need to see this.
Yeah. So let's talk about this picture.
Yeah, those are Armenians that used to live near Dzernavank, and the left page is before and after restoration works of Dzernavank between 1994 and onward.
Abiding saying YouTube got a new zoom in fish. That's true. You can zoom into the videos now. Don't zoom into us too much.
Wait, via phone or
phone
even
and
browser?
tablet. Yeah, no, I don't know about the browser, but I think phone and tablet. So that's cool. All right. So, but again, those of you who might be watching it on your big screens, I'm sure these are showing really well. Okay, let's go to the next picture.
Some of the monasteries were really difficult to find. With Zaven, we tried twice to find this monastery, which is not far from Dadivank. And finally, at the third try, we found a local who knew the place because it's in the forest, and it's in the forest, and you can't really find a trail. Actually, you have to know someone who really knows
the area.
Yes. We got lost twice in different years, and the third time we made it. And you will see that one of the Hachkar has been hammered. So that was done by the locals, and especially not the Armenians, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, something like this, I mean, it obviously looks like it the way it hasn't been obviously taken care of, the way it's aged. Is it just open? You can go in there?
Yeah, like I said, even us who are like the professionals who are pursuing and documenting these monasteries, we were not able to find it. Imagine
So the locals
locals, not too many locals know
even
about this
know
place.
about it.
Yes,
So,
so it has to be a specific person who has visited or pays a visit every now and then.
interesting.
How far does that date back? Was there any information on this?
Yeah, this one should be around 17th century. By the way, if you zoom in, you can see the date of the
Look at
Hachkars.
this.
This is also a very unique
This is so
Yeriche
cool.
Arakyal church, which well, actually complex, I would say, because it's very unique. 7 churches next to each other.
7 churches?
Yeah, look at that. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So
I just thought it was just one big church.
no,
So it's actually 7 separate.
separate churches, and they say Yerish Arakyal was buried here. And when I took these images, it was very risky already at that time because the positions of the Azeris were very close to this monastery. And a soldier was given to us by the Armenians because he knew the place and he guided us. And he was a chain smoker, and he was thin like a leaf, and he was chain smoking, going forward
Like sunflower
like,
seeds.
like a gazelle.
Stop.
Non-stop. And then we were trying to catch up with him. It was so tough. After thinking the images, it started raining. It started pouring. So what does a photographer do? Cover his equipment because I didn't have a waterproof cameras. But I could not walk anymore because it was all wet. And when it's muddy,
Yeah, it's muddy,
your shoes will
Yeah.
start getting heavier and heavier. It's like having anchors.
Ankle weights.
Yeah, and I couldn't walk, so we waited in the pouring rain until it stopped, and then we continued.
In the church.
No, not church. We were halfway through going back.
So where'd
when
you
it
guys
started.
just
It was open, so we stayed
open?
in the open.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I protect the cameras.
I gotta say, there's something beautiful about the way nature has kind of almost grasped
Yeah.
the church within
Yeah.
it. There-
I don't know. I mean, it may be a bad comparison to make, but have you seen some of those? What do you call it? Medieval abbeys from, let's say, Ireland, Scotland, and whatnot that have kind of just been run down and have ivy and whatnot that have grown over this over 600-700 years, right? It has the same feel to this,
No, I get what you're saying
Yeah,
as far as comparison, but I'm just saying there's something beautiful about the fact that it
that-
feels like the church has become one with nature.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the earth itself rather than built by men, because of the way the landscape and the trees and everything have kind of taken over and hugged it, almost protecting it. So it's beautiful.
See the view from a different angle.
Yeah.
So interesting.
No, it's not ours anymore.
One day. What goes around comes around. That's what I say. So
Let's hope so.
the what is the saying? The battle might be over, but
No,
the
war isn't,
the war isn't. So,
This is in the southern part of Artsakh, Gitchavank, the monastery of Gadic, before and during the reconstruction work. Unfortunately, it was not completed and it was captured by the enemy.
Okay.
The following page, you will see one of the amazing Hachkars inside that church, and
They defaced it.
Yeah, it's the Armenians, by the way, who defaced it.
Really?
Yes, it says Aram on it.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Why'd you do this?
why did you do it? Well, they wanted to leave their names on it. But what's really interesting about this Hachkar is the same artist had another Hachkar made the same period, and that Hachkar is at Echmiadzin. Unfortunately, the one on the right stayed in its position.
Now this hasn't been cleaned up.
No.
Still like that.
And the following page, you will see that there's more graffiti inside.
Wow.
Yeah. I
My
remember.
God, like what?
Yeah, man. I don't even know what to say.
Kids, actually, school kids came in one day and they had their outing with their teachers, and they came inside the church while I was photographing. And every time that I photograph, if I have to go to the altar, I pick off my shoes. I take them off and get to the altar without shoes on. Even though if it's not in use, there's always a respect that I have towards our churches.
Yeah.
And when I saw the kids getting up to the altar, I said, if you want to get up, at least take off your shoes. So that's the least that I could teach to the kids. And that's what they did, actually. They took off their shoes.
They
And
listened.
yes,
They
they
listened.
listened.
They didn't rebel.
And that's an area view during the construction work, which was not completed. Well, look at this shot. This is a 19th century church, Yeritz Mangant, in the northern Mardaget region again. And the following image, you will see the only way to get there is through the
Like
bushes.
a hiking trail.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's in the mountains. You see how...
I mean, look at what's going on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Right.
And this dates back
Completely
till
covered
when?
by the elements.
19th century.
19th century.
Yeah. All the dates are there with these date back to 5th and 7th century churches. Both of them are captured right now. Oh, this is a beautiful place. Again, you see Zaven Sarkisian clearing up the bushes. That's what we did. Well, what's really surprising is the locals were not really tending the churches themselves. Every time that we went, we had to clean.
Yeah, they forgot about it.
Yeah,
Left it alone.
The priority in Artsakh, I don't think it was the church or the religion. It was something else, and I don't know what something else was. Anyway, so the
Do you think? I mean, you know, a lot of the churches that were built usually were from notable families that commissioned to build these churches,
In
and most of them
cases,
did it out of. I think back in the days, and we talked about it was more about. I don't know if the word flexing is the right one to use, but it was something for them to pay homage towards their belief, and at the same time to show their family power. You know, power in the sense, not power as if they were powerful. It was just like, again, to I don't know what the word. My thoughts are not.
It was a common practice back then, even throughout Europe.
Yeah, because if you look at the 1,001 churches of City of Ani, I mean, it was built by all prominent families.
Yes,
like it was just like the thing. It was in fashion, the thing to do.
Ani was,
Ani, of Ani, and I feel like most of these churches that were built, because nobody has gone in there, nobody took care of it. People just kind of saw it as like almost like a ruin and didn't continue taking care of it, not understanding how important these are.
Well, we have to remember that during the Soviet era, for 70 years, most of the region were not allowed to practice their religion.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
So they were even used as stable or hiding animals, etc.
That is so disrespectful.
Yeah. Again, this is not far from the church that you just saw, and it's called Birri Yertsi. Birri in Armenian means rough, not beautiful, because as you can see, it doesn't have really an architectural beauty in it. But what's really interesting about this complex is the church is all Hachkar is adorning the entrance, the western facade there. It's all Hachkars. And then on the left, you will see all the offerings that have not changed from the pagan era. You know,
dating that far back.
Of course, look at it. We're still offering animals to the church.
Yeah, the hanging of by the leaves. I mean, those are all pagan traditions.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful, that the fact that these were later on almost like kind of adopted into Christianity, because those are beautiful historical traditions that came from our ancestors, you know, and the fact that they kind of involved it with the new belief, I think it's a beautiful thing, the old and the new together.
Well, they had to use the old in order to teach the new.
Of course,
I
yeah.
mean, if in my Hachkar book, I was talking with Vahe just about an hour ago. When you want to introduce something new, you always try to make a parallel with the old, so that
Yeah.
people accept it,
Yeah.
even though if it's not the right one or the what you're anticipating. You always you try to make a copy of the
Yeah.
older, and usually when the old pagan temples were destroyed, the church was
Built on top of it.
why?
Yes.
Because people were used to going to that place.
Yeah.
So you're kind of
The new version now. Yeah.
you're kind of forcing people to go to that new place now. Because they
to
use
pray.
Yeah, it's a place of worship just
Yeah.
covered with something else. Hrayr, we have an interesting question from
Yeah.
Arvin Zarukyan. Have you considered presenting your photos to UNESCO?
It's already done.
Already done.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to talk about that?
No.
No.
No, because it's not my topic. It's the professors who have filed all the applications or the letters, and
Okay,
they
so there's like a
requested that I provide my images, and my images were provided. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. All right.
it's
Good to know that
Yeah.
they requested it. It wasn't you.
of course. You got to use the right channels, but then don't forget, United Nations is controlled by Azeris. You know, it's UNICEF.
Yeah.
Or anyways,
Harach is joining us. The wizard. He's a gentleman we talked about the rugs.
oh yeah,
the carpet.
I want to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, and he's actually at. We got to set that up before
Definitely.
Harach is back. I know he was in Armenia, but if you're back, call me. We got to connect. Definitely, you have to
With pleasure.
Yeah, connect and talk. But he was asking, do you have any future publications you're working on as of right now?
3 publications.
3 publications.
Yes.
Is this something you can share right now?
Yeah, sure. It's one of them is about Cilicia, 2 volumes,
my goodness.
492 pages, consisting of more than 100 fortresses. In the video, you saw some of the fortresses, and then the coins that the kings made during that era, and also the manuscripts that were saved from Cilicia, and also our
We'll have to connect them with Joseph.
Joseph too.
yeah, well, connections. What
Connections.
can I say?
Mer Hersoner.
Yes.
So we make connections.
Yes, and another one.
I hope Joseph's watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this shot is the complete image of the
What was
cross
on
on the.
earlier?
Look at the beauty of this cross. It's very unique, and like I said, look at the lighting. From the shadows, you see that it's taken at an angle which is about 30 degrees maximum from the top.
That seriously, that is an amazing shot. I mean, just the beauty of our architecture is something else. You don't see it anywhere else.
Gandasar is an amazing monastery, and it's a jewel of Artsakh. Actually, this is it. Look at that. And
Wow. Are you guys seeing this?
well, here on the right side, you see an image of Gandasar in the wintertime. The top one is in the summertime. And on the left, it's an archival photograph that I haven't taken it. But
Okay, but it's just to compare, like
to give an idea of how it used to look like before in the past, let's say 100 years ago, 200 years ago. So it's I try to bring in as many interesting topics or images, actually, because we live in a visual age.
Of course.
And here they are. Everybody's storing them on clouds, and they're so proud that it's they have their images backed up on cloud, etc. But what happens if it rains one day? All the images,
if the cloud gets hacked.
yes, and all the images disappear. People will tell me, no, you're wrong. But if one of my books is saved out of the 1,000 that I published, at least that will be in our
Future generations will get to
something
see it.
physical in your hands over digital any day.
In the image on the far left corner, on top is Father Hovannes, and he matched the broken Hachkar because they used half of it on the altar, inside Gandzasar, and they brought it back afterwards, and they married the two together again. And what it says in the description below is the prince is leaving a secret message to his kids, and he says, "I'm not going to take anything from this earth. You will not taking anything with you either." So those who are thinking that the zeros that they have accumulating in the banks or somewhere else,
They're gonna take it.
they're
With
going to take it. I have news for you. Nobody's
not
going to
happening.
take it. That's what the prince said, and that's still
It's
working.
still there. Wow.
Yeah. And that's why I spend everything that I earn.
Oh, wow. Look at that wall.
Yeah, that's inside Gandzasar, and the inscriptions are amazing. And the lighting, look at the light. See, the Armenian churches and monasteries were built in, how should I say, in accordance with the light that was moving from east to west. They had to have those special windows so that the light can go through and illuminate the church. So they didn't really use too much lighting, artificial lighting.
Well, now I want to ask you, artist to artist.
Yeah.
Did you, obviously you planned this specifically, these shots, because you understood where the lighting was going to enter from, right?
Yes, yes.
How long did you have to wait to get specific shots?
I don't wait too much.
So you just timed it
Yes.
perfectly.
Yes.
You went there right on time.
I do a lot of research work. And throughout these 3 decades, I know exactly how it's going to look, where the lighting is.
What time.
But the most difficult issue is always those who try to give me a hard time taking pictures, because when I enter with a tripod and set it up in order to take image, they ask me if I have permission from the church to photograph. And I say, come on, don't you know who I am? Sometimes they tell me, we don't care who you are, but so do I. So I take the picture and I publish them in
because I mean,
important books.
some of those photos on the left, when you're getting the sun rays in different directions, that's, I mean, again, it has to be properly timed.
Yeah. And the incense that climbs, that gives you really the
and that smoke effect, the smog effect. Yeah.
It's all artificial, but at the same time is natural.
Of course.
Yeah. Again, Gandzas are from helicopter, and then in the future, I used also drone images. Hagopavank. We have so many monasteries. What's really important in these images, the Hachkars are dated. So we have the exact dates of each Hachkar, and I have put the dates so that people, when they look at it, and they compare it to the 7th century monastery and when those Hachkars were set in, that gives you an idea that the Armenians were there from the beginning all the way to the 21st century. So it's not like there was a gap, they disappeared.
No, they've been there continuously.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no, that obviously they were smart. They knew what they were doing.
So those Hachkars are very important. And these images are also very historical right now and archival, because they're taken in the region that were seceded. That's the Kalbajar region. Again, the double rainbow.
Wow.
This is symbolic for me, because it connects Armenia and Artsakh together. That's the symbolism
like a bridge.
I have. Yes.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Great shot.
What's really interesting about these inscriptions that one of the professors had found, and then later on Claude Mutafian also had to go, and I accompanied him along with Zaren Sarkisian, is the proof that there's a link between Artsakh princes and Cilician kings. So these inscriptions are very unique, because it tells you that the Armenians from Artsakh went all the way to Cilicia. And unfortunately, these are in the mountain, in the forests of Lachin region. And we had to hike 3 miles in the woods in order to
sitting in the woods.
Yeah. You see the hiking, you see the
Yeah.
area. It's unbelievable. Like I said, if you don't have a guide, you cannot
Yeah.
find these places.
Now, did you film any of this as
Of
far
course,
as
yes.
like you had someone filming while you were doing? Because I feel like this would,
Some of them,
it
yes.
would be an amazing documentary to put
Yes,
together.
yes,
I'm sure it's in the works.
yes. It will work. In this image, you're gonna tell me,
Oh,
okay, in
look
the
at
forest,
this.
how come you have such a beautiful lighting in the midst of a forest? Well, it's very simple. We carry a lot of equipment with us,
Yeah.
even a reflector, which is a few pounds. But you just said my jacket or my vest is really heavy. I mean, imagine there's also the cameras, the reflector, and this is all I'm carrying it with me. So I use the reflector here to reflect the sun towards the Hachkar in order to get this kind of quality, or else the Hachkar will be in the shadows.
Do you ever leave your house without a camera?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes.
It has to.
But I feel like most of the time you have that jacket
Yes.
and camera with
Yes.
you. It's like that's
And I got news for you. It's not always the same camera. So every couple of years, I have to really
Upgrade,
upgrade
yeah.
it, get the better.
and the lenses and all that.
Yes, and when I get a better resolution camera, better lenses, I usually go back and photograph the same things that I photographed
With the better camera.
With the
Yeah.
better camera.
You have
And-
to.
And some of the museums don't like me because I keep coming back and asking for the same manuscripts, for example, to be photographed. And they say, but you did take images. But I tell them this is a higher quality camera. And
I mean, how much higher quality can you get? I mean, you can see.
100 megapixel. Yeah.
I know, but what I'm just saying is like it's clear already. Like how much
Yeah,
clearer
yeah.
do you want to?
Yeah, but you'll be surprised.
I mean, with photography, think about it. You need more.
Okay, well, listen to me. You
and
telling
more.
me 50 megabytes is not enough
not
clear
megabytes, megapixel.
megapixel? Sorry, is not.
No,
it's
let's
not.
say now you have double the power.
Oh my
Would
god!
you
How
not
much
do
clarity
this?
do you need?
Would you not do this?
No, I'll tell you something. In 1992, for example, we were using negatives.
I'm talking to a tech junkie. Are you kidding me?
I get it, but there comes a point where it's like you stop already. It's enough.
Are you kidding me? No. Look,
Hey,
Okay.
I'm a computer junkie. Are you kidding me? Like if something comes up, I'm gonna try something with.
I get
no,
it.
but I see it
Great.
in my images. For example, in 1992, we were using
No, I
negatives,
get. Yeah.
and even the first digital cameras that came up, they were 6 megapixel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's say you had 12 megapixels or 24 megapixels, and then when you start publishing books or you start making exhibitions, then you see the difference. Once you start going beyond 24 by 36 images, then you see that
The
you have a lot
resolution.
of you have a lot of grain or not sharpness that you have with the images that you can
Yeah.
get with the cameras right now.
All right. Well, we fell off.
Yeah.
Fell off the course for a second. Okay.
Oh, this is Knaravan. My friends from New Jersey, they built a housing project, actually, an entire village named after their mother who passed away, Knar. And the Harutunian brothers, they wanted to accomplish a vow that they had made. And their mother's wish was to have a place with her name. And they built dwellings, houses in the Kalbajar region, and not far from the Hantapert and the Hantapert Monastery. And you will see that we have a very special Hachkar, which is very unique. The following image. This one. You see Mother Mary giving breast to Jesus. But look at Jesus. He's standing on his feet. Usually we don't have that kind of an image. Usually Jesus is held by Mary in her arms, not Jesus on the ground. And those two Hachkars were also saved, and they're at Echmiadzin right now because the area is given. I love this shot.
This is cool.
I saw
I
this
love this
earlier,
shot.
and I
This
really
is
want to
so
ask you
cool.
about this.
Yeah, this is when the snow melts. This is what you get. Small rivers and lakes, puddles. It's amazing from the helicopter.
What was that? What was the elevation on the shot?
500 feet. Yeah,
That's
we were
so
we were
cool.
done. And the pilots, the Armenian pilots, were excellent. I mean, I owe them a lot.
This is so cool.
Now this only happens when it melts.
Yes.
Okay. And then they like over
And-
summer it kind of dries
Yes,
out.
that's
okay.
it.
Okay.
So,
So
it's
cool.
a
I mean,
window.
look at the colors.
Yeah, it's a window that you have to capture really on during this season.
The right time,
Yeah.
basically.
And again, this is Narigatsi Art Institute in Shushi. My friend Hrayr Baze had established it with his brother Saro, and they lost it completely. But for the 20 years in operation, they helped all the kids of Shushi to become artists, and they were getting all the education for free.
Yeah.
And also on the right side is my friend Haytuk Shamlian with his family. For 15 years, they went and they organized summer events for the kids.
It's amazing.
Now it's some of the artifacts. Actually, these ones were saved from Shushi. These are from the carpet factory, where they also had these old jars.
Were the carpets saved
Yes.
as well? All
Yes.
of those? Okay.
The following page. Okay, these were not saved. There are 3 museums at least that stayed as is, and they were captured.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine what they've done to these things.
Yeah.
Beautiful shots.
This is Shushi,
Yeah.
looking down to the ravine.
This is from
Shushi,
this.
yes.
This is the side that we
Unbelievable.
climbed up, right?
Yeah.
This is where
Yes.
the first war.
Yes.
How we captured it.
One
right?
of the first directions that they used.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Kazan Chetot's church and Ganajan church, which was destroyed from the very first day that they entered Shushi.
Completely destroyed it.
Yes.
Yep.
This is Shushi Kazan Chetots in 1992, all the way to the fall. And you will see weddings there also. Ganajan on the left, and then the carpets of Artsakh on the right.
I'm sure Hrach is enjoying.
Hrach,
it.
Hrach, You're watching?
Yeah. Look closely, Hrach. The following page is going to be even amazing for Hrach. Here we go.
Oh wow.
Okay, that's the gentleman. The 2 gentlemen that you see on top. The right one is Levon. He's the one who gave me the book about Artsakh, the churches. And the image on the right side, I asked the gentleman who had the carpet museum, I asked him if he could bring them out so that I can photograph them. And he said, sure, why not? So I climbed to the roof of
This is
tallest
from
building.
above.
Yes, so the tallest hotel, and the boys were bringing one by one. And then this is the shot that I really enjoy a lot, because look at the shadows. It's really amazing, out of this world.
cool.
Yeah.
It's like a unity of
Yeah.
like, wow, that is beautiful. So you made them take all these out.
Yes.
For you
Hey, the man wanted a shot.
wow, that is amazing. Okay.
This is Shushi when before
Landscapes,
Yes.
just unbelievable.
and the Karindak village is on the right side. This is
Super cool.
interesting orchid, and it looks like a female bee, and the male bees have to be attracted to this flower in order to pollinate. And what's really interesting is it's about 6 inches tall, and if you don't use a macro lens, you cannot see all these details here. Now, we're talking about 50 megapixel medium
Yeah,
format
look at
camera.
You can tell from the fuzz too.
Yeah.
You caught the fuzz.
Now you see, Vic, why we have those
Megapixels.
I get it.
Megapixels are
Like,
mega important.
Can we not go back to this?
No.
Do you have your 100 megapixel?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Is there like anything more than that right now, or
My phone actually takes 108.
yeah, good for you.
good for you?
100?
He's obsessed with taking shots of the moon. So
Why? Why not?
I should go to
Yeah.
Armenia or Artsakh, take shots
Yeah.
of the moon from there.
In this book, I'm trying to give you not only the churches, or I'm trying to give you a balance of everything that has
Yeah.
Artsakh to offer. So the fauna is amazing. The lakes,
The rivers. Oh, I'd love
the-
to go
the-
fishing in those rivers.
the falls. It's amazing. And some of the artist friends who passed away recently in 2015.
This is their artwork.
Yeah. And celebrating Flag Day.
Really quick question.
Yeah.
With all your visits, is there a particular time? I know you've talked about spring and whatnot. Is there a particular time that you always aim to go back
Yeah.
to take to get the best out of
Yes.
your photos?
The 4 seasons.
Well, I mean, sure, of course. Yeah, but I mean, like
Depends. If you're trying to get the images of the churches and the monasteries, obviously you have two choices. If you
summer
don't,
or spring.
yeah, summer usually is the best. Actually, not summer. Spring is the best.
Yeah.
Usually when the flowers start blooming, and it's very beautiful. And sometimes it's best also in fall, because the leaves will
Leaves are
fall,
falling, the
and
colors,
and also,
foliage.
and also the church will be much more enhanced. So there's nothing blocking actually around it. So it depends from the church, the architecture, or the landscape even. So
Yeah. Everyone who's joining us, thank you again. We appreciate it sticking around and watching these amazing images. If you guys have any questions about these images for Hawk, please ask us in the chat, and
Don't be
we'll ask
shy.
it on your behalf. Yeah, don't be shy. Get involved, people. All right, let's go to the next picture.
okay, this is a view from Shushi actually. This is what the Turks are looking towards Stepanakert.
This is Stepanakert.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
Stepanakert, and the Murav mountain range is all the way in the
In
background.
the background, yeah.
See, on a clear day, you can see almost the infinity.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like sitting duck there, you know. Okay, so now we're going into the museum and some of the artifacts and the proofs that Armenians lived. Like that slab, the inscription on it says 1,000. So imagine 1,000 years ago, at least, we have an inscription of a
Yeah.
church which says
Year 1000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, some of the four-sided Hachkar, or on the right side, you see the first
Oh,
publications.
sorry. Let me go back.
Yeah, it's the first publications in Shushi in 1800s in Armenian.
In 1800s.
Yes.
In Armenian.
Yes. That's Mardaget region.
Oh, look at that
The
greenery.
landscape's just unbelievable, man. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's
And this is Askeran Fortress. It's from the 18th century. And what's really bugging me is they could have built the road circumventing the fortress.
they
No,
went right
but
through it.
they were, I don't know, too lazy, or they didn't plan well, or they did it on purpose to cut it off like that. You know,
Armenians did this?
I don't know.
Hmm.
But it's there. This is
Oh,
the Lachin corridor in the wintertime and summertime. One of the villages in Artsakh. Khantsorkin, yeah. And of course, there is rich metal in Artsakh,
Yeah.
and the Armenians were excavating those.
I mean, most of the
Southern.
biggest reason why they wanted these
Yeah.
lands is because of this. It's all,
Yeah.
I mean, not to get into politics, but we know there's so
Yeah.
many connections with the British and other
Of course,
major
of
companies
course.
that are after these minerals
Yes.
that they want. So
And again, these are some of the Hachkars, the
Yeah.
traditional Shingalov huts, and the bread, the tut, the mulberry, and also the mulberry drink, the vodka actually that the gentleman is preparing. And even on a tombstone, there is a gentleman is also uh, preparing the mulberry vodka. So if you see it on the left top one,
he's
that's the one. Yeah.
there you go. He's dripping it, huh?
Yeah.
How long did you have to wait?
Oh, I didn't wait much. Again, people of
Oh,
Artsakh,
beautiful.
some of the
Great
beautiful
shots.
places.
Wow.
Amazing people, amazing
Great
friends. Yeah. Hospitable, and the soldiers. That's
what is
that's
that
the
shot?
cannon. That's
the cannon. I
Yeah.
was gonna say it looks.
The bore of the cannon. Yeah. Some of the magnificent boys, the soldiers who sacrificed themselves for the protection of Artsakh. Oh, this is an interesting image. The young boy I see, he was 18, and on top left, is holding an anti-aircraft missile or a launcher. I found him 20 years later again in Doch. He said, "Aren't you Hawk, the photographer who photographed me in 1992?" I said, "Yes." And they were in charge of preparing the Qatar wine in Doch village. And his son actually did the same thing during the 2020 war. So
He was launching the
Yes.
rocket. That's amazing.
and they lost, of course, the factory. And
How many we lost quite a few
quite a few,
wineries.
yes,
Yeah,
from the south.
Yeah.
But actually, they're stubborn. They moved it to Armenia, and the Qatar wine is still in
Yeah.
production with grapes from Artsakh. So
Oh,
until
good for them.
they
Yeah.
return back, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll return back. Don't worry
yeah.
about it. All in good time. All in good time. You have to be optimistic in life, because if you're not optimistic, then what's the point?
You're talking to an optimist.
Yeah. Well, I am the biggest optimist in the world.
That's again in the Mer mountain range, and you see the soldiers fighting or defending the land,
Yeah.
and it was really cold, and you can see even the axe has ice on it.
Yeah, it's built up. On
You know, when I see these shots, my brain is always thinking of the freshness of the air, how fresh it is.
crisp.
Because I know whenever I do any type of trips going into the mountains, fishing, camping, and that crisp air, that beautiful, and I can't imagine how more, I mean, I don't know, like I can almost smell it in a way, that freshness.
This is from
Obviously, yeah.
1992.
Yeah, our great heroes.
Yeah. And the lady that you see on top right, in the middle, her husband was slaughtered in front of her in Azerbaijan, in the capital. Baku.
Recently or
No, in 1988.
1988.
And she had come to avenge her husband's death.
Good for her.
That's the Jeep that I told you that Meruja Mosian blew up. And on the right side is another tragic event that happened. A truck driver was coming from the south, from the Hadrut region towards the north, and we heard a bang. And we were going actually with my friend towards the south. And when we arrived, we saw that the gentleman was bleeding, and we thought they're gonna do a tourniquet and then save his life by cutting his legs, but actually his blood drained, and the first aid didn't arrive on time. The ambulance couldn't arrive, And after this shot, I stopped taking pictures of the war.
This was the last.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'd like to dive deep a little bit deeper into your experience there, but I know how painful it is for you. So maybe another time when you want to talk
Yeah.
about it. Yeah, these are whole.
This is the village Dog in Hadrut, and that's where the revolution started in 1988 when the Armenians wanted to have an independence, and the Azeris did not want the Armenians to be independent. So they started attacking the Armenians, and that's what forced the locals to uprise. And that's Grigorian, one of my friends who also was killed in the war. That's the view of the lake, Al Lake.
And this is the one that's, you said that was close to
Jermuk.
Jermuk, yeah.
Yes. These are some of the manuscripts that were saved throughout the centuries. Usually, we have very few Armenian manuscripts that are surviving manuscripts because Artsakh has always been on the crossroad between east, west, south, and north. All the armies that had to cross, they plundered, they destroyed everything that had to do with the locals, which were the Armenians. That's why we have very few manuscripts who have survived.
Well, what's the first thing they do? Destroy literature.
The church. That's why some of the churches that you saw there, that they were up in the hills or in the forests were saved because they were not on the main roads, major roads, I should say. That's an image on the black and white image that you see on the left is inside Azerbaijan, and that church, that monastery also doesn't exist. So we rely on photographs taken from the past actually to prove that Armenians lived in that region.
It's sad to think about the fact that we have to go through this in order to prove our existence. But at the same time, I'm glad that somebody did take a picture.
Yeah, but they don't have anything to prove that it's Azeri, except a couple of...
well, it's not about proof right now. It's about power. It's about money. So the fact that they have unlimited amount of money, they are lobbying and hungry politicians who just want to get richer, go along with it.
Again,
but you know what? It's okay because we finally, I think Armenians are waking up, and we're seeing so many different things happening and I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about Armenians taking the matter into their own hands in the sense of getting our story out there with images, films, podcasts, whatever it is getting it out. This is the point of all this stuff.
Of course.
For the world to still finally learn about one of the oldest nations, oldest people that date back to Portasar.
That still exists.
That still exists.
Yes.
So.
That's...
Seems like someone's home.
No, actually, it's one of the Fedain's home.
Okay.
Which is a museum right now. A lot of Armenian churches were not tended because, like I said, during the Soviet era, they were left unattended or they were not allowed to practice their religion. And it's like the man you see on the right, his arm chopped off. The churches are also like kind of parallel to what
so
he has lost. And what,
yes,
that's why I have these two images next to each other.
I really love the thought you've put into it, to the way you're presenting it to the reader, to appreciate the work that you've put into this and everything you've gone through, telling this story of these people and our lands.
Well, it's important to give a story in your book. It's not just beautiful images. Here, for example, you see the daily life of the local Armenians there.
Yeah.
from summer, spring to winter, and
Yeah, the shepherd.
they used to tell me, haven't you photographed everything in Armenia or Artsakh? I
never
tell them,
enough.
yeah, I tell them,
Never enough.
you don't know what you're missing until you start losing something.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Look at
Noor.
that.
Oh my God.
The image on the left is a field of sunflowers. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
beautiful, etc. But my friend who passed away also in 2020 from Artsakh, he said, "What?" I told him, "Stop, stop! I want to get down." It was like a ditch. I went into the ditch and I photographed this image. He says, "What did you photograph?" And I showed him the image next. He says, "Wow, where is this beautiful field?" I said, "You remember I told you to stop and let me take pictures?"
Yeah.
That's
There
the
it is.
image.
Funny. Oh, it's so want some of that Noor right now.
All the soldiers that we lost in the first war, more than 7,000 killed
It was that much.
Yes.
7,000.
and plus. Again, the man working, January the 1st. And my daughter Lori was born on January 1st. So it's a dedication to her, these images. On the road again, I call it. The girl on the right side, she was a refugee from Mardaget region, and she became the cover of my second book dedicated to Artsakh. And look at her face. You see that she has a beautiful smile, and look at the necklace that she made with paper clips. It's, even while she's a refugee, she's thinking of her beauty or
something cool.
Yeah. Look at the smile. I still remember her.
Beautiful. When was this taken?
In 1994.
Wow. Have you tracked her down by any
No,
chance?
I couldn't find her. I tried. I couldn't.
Oh,
I'll bump into her again.
I hope so. I hope so.
These are some of the images that I really cherish. The one on the left is called Casting Shadows. Again, Artur Mosian, the brother of Meruj Mosian, took me to this place, and I was taking an image with my Leica and a 90 millimeter with the black and white film. And you see the shadows of the mulberry trees, like equal shadows of the same size as the trees themselves.
Tree itself, yeah.
And also the cows that were crossing it. And that's why I called it Casting Shadows. Again, Arthur said, "What are you taking pictures of? Ruins, broken trees?" And so how can I explain to people that this is the image to look at?
Well, I mean, again, having that photographer eye is different than
what most people will be able to understand.
Lusig, the refugee from northern Artsakh, when it was captured in 1988, Shahumyan region, when it fell, she came to the new Shahumyan, which was the Kalbajar region. And again, she was a refugee after the 2020, if she survived that age. The gentleman on the right.
That shot is absolutely amazing.
I had my tripod set up to photograph the light coming in, and then this old man with his cane was going towards the altar.
So this was completely happen chance.
Yes, I was gonna ask him to wait until I take to stop so that I can take pictures of the light, but I didn't, because I said the gentleman is going to pray, let him go, and when he came to exactly, I said, wow, this is it, boom.
Wow,
that's so
that's what's great about photography, that we have split seconds to work with. And sometimes they tell me, why are you so pushy? Why you want things now? Why can't you wait? I tell them, we work with milliseconds, like
it's a
fraction of a second. And sometimes things will happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And
if you don't get it, you
don't get it. And sometimes when you say, okay, we'll come back and take pictures of this scene later, forget it. It's not going to happen. This image is dedicated to Samvel Garabedian, who also passed away in 2020. And in the 1980s, he took the chance and he ventured into Azerbaijan itself to photograph the Armenian churches inside Azerbaijan. So what he did is amazing. He documented all the remaining churches, Armenian churches in that region before they were destroyed eventually. So he was working for Research on Armenian Architecture in Yerevan.
Yeah.
And his team right now is continuing his work, doing a lot of work in Georgia, in Armenia, in Artsakh, and also in Western Armenia and Cilicia. Some of the crosses from Artsakh, the one on the left is kept in Echmiadzin, and that comes also from Azerbaijan. A long time ago, it was taken to Echmiadzin. We're going to talk about the Hachkars of Julfa.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next.
Yeah, Nakhichevan. On the left side is a parallel of what the Azeris have done to our Hachkars, and on the right is what we did not do for their cemeteries. As you can see, their cemeteries are still standing, and we did not destroy them. And also the two mosques actually were rebuilt in Shushi, unlike what they did
What they do.
with Ganacham, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done with this. Okay, one more.
I think that was the last slide.
Oh no, there. Oh yeah.
Yeah, 109.
Oh no, actually, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
109.
okay.
Yeah.
I had. Okay, I have removed one of the pages. Okay, good.
So that was pretty much all the shots that you've. I mean, in this book, it's amazing that when you talk about treasures of Artsakh, I mean, I'm sure everybody who's joining us can agree how beautiful those shots are, and we are grateful for what you've done. And I'm sure you have thousands and thousands of pictures that haven't made it on. Well, he's
Millions.
yeah, millions, but that haven't, made it on the book, obviously.
My goal is eventually to have all my images either scanned or available on a website, so that people from Japan to Antarctica can make research about Armenian Hachkars, churches, history, scenery, etc. But that
do you know what Project Save?
Yeah, but Save is different. What I do is different. Mine Save is old images.
I know, but isn't there something maybe like another branch that could be done?
I don't think so. They're more interested in archival photographs, which is very very important.
I mean, but stuff from '92 is archival as well, right?
Yeah. Now, yes. Actually, that's what we should concentrate on posting my images so that anybody can make research. But in order, the magnitude of a few thousand images to be uploaded.
In high quality,
especially in the 100 megapixels.
Yeah, on the cloud, and make sure it doesn't rain.
Yes,
those are big files.
Before we jump into the Julfa, is there anything you want to mention?
What should I
mention? Anything specific as far as stories of Artsakh?
Oh, there's so many. We will not finish it. We will not finish today.
Happy Friday.
Well, we're about almost 2 hours into the podcast. And thank you, everybody who's joining us. We appreciate it.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
Conversation.
I know, right? Yeah. So let's jump into the Hachkars of Julfa. I'm going to bring it on the screen right now.
Okay. This image is taken, this series of images are taken by Zaven Sarkisyan. In 1988, he was lucky enough to be one of the last Armenians to venture into Nakhichevan and photograph the Hachkars, the Julfa or Hachkars, Juga Hachkars. And the lady that you see is the last Armenian who was born in Nakhichevan. And that was it. And the image on the bottom, you see that Hachkars were broken into 3 pieces. That happened during the Soviet era when they were building the railway, and they used those Hachkars as a base for the tracks.
Yeah.
So imagine we had 14,000 Hachkars and plus in the region, and they were used as construction material. Some of them.
by the Soviet.
By the
By the
Soviets.
Soviets.
Well,
yeah.
Soviet Azerbaijan, if you think about
Yeah.
it, you know. Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, this shot is taken
Wow.
from northern Iran. I had to hide inside the chapel, the Armenian chapel on the borderline, because you don't want your lens, your telephoto lens, which is
The glare.
The glare.
yeah, to be seen by the Azeris, which are across the border. And here you can count more than 4,000 standing Hachkars.
Wow.
Yeah,
Was it heavily patrolled?
of course.
Yeah?
Of course.
What year did you take this?
1997. This is
1997.
with a negative film.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at them.
And this is in 2003, again from the same position, and again taking the same risk. And you can see that the Hachkars were bulldozed flat to the ground. And the following image,
Unbelievable.
look at the before, and,
before
after.
and after, yeah.
1997 on the left and 2006 on the right. Completely destroyed. Not a single Hachkar. Not only the Hachkar, this was the nail on the coffin about Armenian proof that the Armenian existed in Nakhichevan, because only the Hachkars were surviving.
Yeah.
More than 100 churches in Nakhichevan have already been razed to the ground.
Yeah.
So they don't even exist. So imagine this was the last coup.
Nakhichevan historically has, especially that area, was always controlled by the Bagratuni family, especially. Why? Because it was a very special trade route as
Yeah, it
well.
was always
So
contested.
historically,
Yeah.
and the Bagratunis were very well into the churches, the arts, the crafts, and everything. So you're talking about things that date back centuries, and there is the proof. There's the photo.
Yeah.
So eventually, this is all going to surface, and I don't want to. I don't know. I feel like they're going to end up paying for what they did, one way or another.
I mean, these photographs are so important. if
Yeah.
really
You remember
think about
United
just this,
Nations?
Just this.
We brought out the United Nations question a while ago.
Yes.
We did ask the United Nations to intervene. The Azerbaijan did not let a team
didn't
of
let 'em in.
No. And what happened?
Well, the United Nations, honestly, what are they? They're like,
No, I'm gonna grunt with the United Nations. I'm not gonna even open. my
no. I
mouth
mean,
about it.
it's they're like just
Yeah.
they're like a
That's a corrupt organization.
not
End of
just a
story. They
corrupt.
are
What do they really do?
nothing. It's just a bunch of unelected, corrupt bureaucrats.
After witnessing the total destruction of the Julfa Hachkars, I went on a quest to find and document the surviving Hachkars. So I found a few of them at Echmiadzin, like the ones that you see.
How far back did these date back?
They're
Do you
all from the
recall?
1600s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all 1579,
Yeah.
1622.
Because after the 1600, Shah Abbas brought all the Armenians to Isfahan, the new Julfa that we call.
I don't know if you can answer this question. Again, I sure don't know the answers. Abiding is asking, isn't Nakhichevan where Noah is buried? Is this?
I haven't seen him. Yeah, seriously. What do you want me to?
No, I'm just saying maybe like something biblically that maybe someone's told you about.
We know where the boat is.
Yeah.
Well, we did climb Mount Ararat, the biblical mountain, but again, I didn't see him there. What do you mean, Hawk? It's if I'm a 21st century photographer, how do you expect me to see
Well,
a
we're asking. No.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I remember a person one time asked me, "Do you have a photograph from 1800 of such and such monastery?" I said, "No. I was born in 1961. How do you expect me to be a photographer in 1800? Unless anyway."
Oh
Okay,
my
this
God.
gentleman
Oh, man.
was born in Nakhichevan, and before he passed away, he gathered his sons and he says, "I have one last request. Bring me a couple of Nakhichevan Hachkars for my burial ground." So that's what they did. So they brought two Hachkars from Nakhichevan. On the one that is actually standing, it says on top, Ir Uzat's Kara, his father's
yeah.
requested stone. And the one which is lying down is they engraved the name of the father, his birthplace, the date of birth, and the date he passed
He
away.
passed away. Yeah.
So actually, they're defacing two Hachkars, but at the same time, those two Hachkars survived. So what an irony, you know?
Yeah.
It's,
That's so interesting. What a request, first of all. Now, when did they bring this? Like, I mean,
it's written on the Hachkar.
but
It's chiseled
got to be pre.
18 no, late 1900s.
Okay.
But what's really interesting about these two Hachkars is, the Armenians like to bury their dead, and
Yeah.
know,
They're known to do that.
yes. Kena merid ari yegutsiren.
Yeah, good see them.
Yeah. So what I had to do in order to find this, have you been to Tokhmak Cemetery in Yerevan?
Yes,
You know how big it is?
I know how big it is.
It's bigger than Los Angeles, probably.
Yeah, it's
And-
huge.
And you cannot find these two Hachkars, even if they pointed at it. So again, 2 trips later, I found a person who had actually seen these two Hachkars. So that's how I found them.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, this is the detail of the
Yeah.
same Hachkar. And these are some of the last Hachkars that were survived from
Nakhichevan.
Nakhichevan, and they are kept at Echmiadzin. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4 Hachkars from Echmiadzin, 1 Hachkar from the History Museum of Armenia, and 1 Hachkar which is erected at the Brandy Company in Yerevan.
I mean,
To work on
if
it.
you notice, it seems like they have a pattern. Most of them
course,
have
of
the
course.
same kind of thing.
Yes.
But these Hachkars, like when you're talking about, there was what 4,000 of them or more.
14,000.
14,000 Hachkars.
Yes.
Was it a burial ground or
Of course.
was it just
Of course, it was a
okay?
burial ground.
So everybody who died,
Yeah.
it was like the thing
Got
to
a
put a
Hachkar,
Hachkar,
yeah.
got a Hachkar.
It was
Yeah,
their tomb.
yeah,
It's like the Tokhmak Cemetery, but
yeah. With Hachkars.
yeah,
That's what I mean.
400,
Yeah.
400 years
So
ago,
14,000.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
These are details of the Hachkars of Julfa or Nakhichevan. Juga.
Yeah, we got the hit for that, for saying Julfa,
Yeah.
saying it's Juga.
Juga. This particular Hachkar is exhibited at the St. Petersburg Hermitage Museum. So I had to fly and get special permission in order to photograph this Hachkar. If you have noticed, I showed you images of before, during, and after destruction of the Hachkars of
Yeah.
Nakhichevan. For 4 pages in my book of Hachkar, I visited the same place 3 times. So imagine how much the cost of those 2 or 4 pages are. Yeah, but the value of it.
The value of it, yeah.
See, people don't see it.
Yeah.
And also for this Hachkar, I mean, you have to spend a few $100 for the airplane ticket, land there, photograph, sleep, and then come back. You know, So imagine the cost of research, photography, editing, publishing,
For one
printing,
shot.
and then
Yeah, so people tend to forget those. They just look at the picture and go, "Oh, he took a photo of it," but they have no idea what it takes.
What it went through,
through to do this. But you know, also let's put the cost aside. What you've done is evidence for future,
Absolutely.
future
and
fully
hopefully
documented.
fights that we have coming up.
Yeah,
So
and hopefully some of the younger generation will continue on my footsteps, like I did with Zavin. You know, Zavin taught me how to photograph this, and he showed me all these places. So,
and honestly, one of the reasons we try to reach to a younger audience, so they can see all this stuff and the stories we're telling, and possibly get motivated, become historians, or go research, find the truth, archaeologists, photographers, whatever it is, but to tell our story. That's the point of it, you know.
and this one is also a very interesting Hachkar, the typical, and as you can see, they're almost identical in design. This is from the History Museum of Armenia. And of course, I had to research and find the location of 6 Hachkars, which were openly exhibited, actually not exhibited, they were laying on the ground at the Tbilisi Ethnographic Museum. Again, I got special permission to photograph these, and as you can see, the shadows of the trees.
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
branches.
say,
The
Your
branches.
exterior.
So that answers your question. When would you like to photograph? What time? And again, I chose a date where there will be no leaves on the trees in order to photograph as much as possible, clearly as much as possible these Hachkars.
Unbelievable.
what are the two in the middle?
Those are not bulls,
Rams.
rams.
Rams, yeah.
And those are also of Armenian origin. And they used to use them also for cemetery locations. What's really interesting about Hachkars that there's a link between the Hachkars and manuscripts, because it's also a religious item. The Hachkar is not just
A
stone.
design,
It
yeah.
tells a story.
No, it's not only cross stone. It's a religious item as well.
Yes.
So that's why I put some parallel with manuscripts and the Hachkar. Look at the corniche, or the top part of one of the Hachkars from Julfa, from Nakhichevan. The first 2 images are the Annunciation. You see Gabriel telling Mary that she will be pregnant, and the 2 other following ones is the nativity scene, and the last corner is giving Jesus to the temple after 40 days. So that was the tradition.
Yeah.
So you have images of religious items engraved on the Hachkar, chiseled on the Hachkar. So
And it's in so detail, you know.
Yes,
That's the thing.
yeah.
It's the craftsmanship is
And-
phenomenal.
and kind of worry, because right now a lot of Hachkars per se is pumping up like mushrooms everywhere in
Yeah,
the
it's
United
like
States,
old-fashioned right now.
in Canada and everywhere. I mean, if you want really to name it a Hachkar, at least make a copy of an original.
Yeah.
Don't go starting designing emblems and adding items without really
Understanding
the concept of a Hachkar.
Yeah.
So that's why this book about Hachkars that I have published is very important for those who are.
I think it's also
preparing.
become a business.
Let it become a business.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the business.
No.
It's
What I
fine.
mean is, it's a business, but in the sense of that the business should have guidelines. So when somebody, let's say like myself, who doesn't know much about Hachkars, but I want to have one, let's say I want to put it in my backyard.
So that's the problem
Yeah,
already,
right
because
there.
you want exactly what you want
What I want.
on that
So
Hachkar.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So when I go to this craftsman and say, "Hey, I want a Hachkar," he needs to tell me, okay, well, these are the
rules.
options I can make. These are the
Yeah.
rules. You can't put your
Exactly.
whatever you
Exactly.
want on it, you know. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what needs to be regulated in a way.
That's my goal actually,
Yeah.
is to see that we continue the tradition, the real tradition of a
Yeah.
Hachkar. You know, you
Yeah.
cannot change the recipe and start you
Yeah.
know, adding different items which have nothing to do with the Hachkar.
Yeah. 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 Don't
So-
put oregano on chorovots.
Yeah, so that's my message too.
This was the last
Ooh,
picture.
Did somebody do that to you?
Just trust me.
Oh,
Um,
goodness.
yes. I was so angry. I'm a big barbecue guy, and there's a certain way you have to marinate the meat, and do not add your own stuff in there. Just
Exactly.
yeah. It's been coming like this since ancient days.
Keep
you
it
know?
the way it's
Keep the way
supposed to
it is.
be.
Yeah. Don't put new stuff in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so from here we're gonna go into Isfahan, right?
Yeah,
Let's
go
cover
through
it a little bit, Isfahan and Isfahan. Can you talk about Isfahan for a little bit so people understand where we're going with
Yeah,
this?
with the image it's gonna be easier.
Okay.
If you go the bottom one or that one, which one?
Yeah,
you wanna
this one
start?
right here. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell people where Isfahan is?
Yeah. First of all, Nakhichevan, we just showed you the
Yeah.
Hachkars. So it has a link with Isfahan. Isfahan is the new city that the king Abbas, the Persian king Abbas, built especially for the Armenians, because he took them from Nakhichevan and brought them to Isfahan, and they called it New Julfa, Norjuga.
Yeah.
And the Armenians were given all the freedom, religious freedom, business freedom, all kinds of freedom to build whatever they wanted in that region, which is called Isfahan right now. And it's, by the way, one of the most attractive tourist attractions in Iran.
Okay.
And Iranians also come from different parts and visit Isfahan and visit the Armenian monasteries, by the way.
Okay.
We have
Are Armenians still there?
Yes. We have Armenians. We have 15 churches there,
Okay.
and some of them are magnificent and amazing and very unique. You will
And
see
what-
in
what-
the
what-
images. 1600s.
1600s,
Yeah,
okay.
1630 something. They started building Isfahan, and the first churches started in 1660s.
Okay. Okay. So what are we looking at over here?
This is one of the churches, one of the main important churches in Isfahan, and that's at Surpet Kehem.
Okay.
Next. That's the entrance,
The entrance.
of another church, by the way.
Wow.
Look at
This
this.
is what's really amazing, because very rarely you would see an Armenian church with such mosaic inside, you know, with so many paintings, frescoes.
You know, obviously I saw these ahead of time, and
Yeah.
I wanted to zoom in and just I mean, there's some shots, close-up shots. It is unbelievable. I'm just wondering, how long did it take for them
to build and
not just
and
build
decorate,
and then
decorate.
decorating.
yeah,
Building, let's say it took a year or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
but the decoration and the colors they used is unbelievable.
you will see some of the details shortly of that I didn't know about. So these are
Wow,
the interior images, again with the scene of the old the Bible and
Yeah. Those of you who are joining us, I don't know, I'm blown away by this.
this is-
It is just beautiful. Look at,
the
this.
work. I mean, look up top.
And the pattern continue like almost like a rug, right? The
Yep.
carpet designs, it's just over and over, perfectly done.
And the stories are carefully selected. You have the nativity scene, the crucifixion, and you have also Adam and Eve in heaven, and then banished from heaven. And you have those scenes continuously improving, let's say.
Now, do we know who the artists behind these are?
I don't know who the artist is. No,
Okay.
actually, but it must have had European influence, because you will
Yeah,
see
you
that,
never see this in Armenian churches. But also maybe a little bit of Persian,
Of
because
course,
It's
of course.
a little
Yeah.
bit of Islamism.
Yeah.
The construction of the church, the construction of the church, you will see, you will think from
It has
far
a
away,
dome.
it's a mosque. Actually, it's not, but they had to blend in with the environment at the same
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
they were very smart. In this image that you see on top, you see those woods?
Yeah.
They date back 400 years. And I climbed on one of those, and it was squeaking. And I took an image from the top towards the bottom. And everybody was afraid that I'm going to fall. And they were not looking at me. So they went
You were
outside.
gonna fall, or if the thing was gonna come down.
It could come down. It's so old.
Yeah.
But I'm light, I guess. I'm not that heavy.
Or they were just good and it
You
stood
didn't
the
eat
test
that
of
day.
time.
I take off my jacket.
Oh, okay.
So it's lighter.
Okay. 20-pound jacket you have. on.
So this is the view from the top. Look at
Oh,
the
wow.
view. It's something else. So that's the risk that we take, in order to get
Yeah.
those amazing details.
The gentleman who's asking us, this is in Isfahan. This is
Yes.
a city, Armenian city in Iran, which was, again, we talked about that king. What was it? King
Shah Abbas.
yeah.
Shah
Oh,
Abbas.
there's look. Harach just chimed in saying that the artists of the church interior were two Romanian Armenian brothers who worked on the interior of the church.
Perfect.
Oh, there we
that's
go.
good. That's good.
Audience
Yeah.
helping.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Again, Romania. So
Yeah.
there is see, that's where I was.
Meg is saying childhood memories rushing by. Meg, you've actually been there? You've seen
Yeah, she
these?
was mentioning earlier
Yeah.
that she had been there. Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I would so want to go and see this. This is beautiful.
So you see, as a photographer, I'm capturing details of each
Yeah.
corner,
Yeah.
each image. So even if you go there as a tourist, probably you will be looking
At the whole thing.
at the whole thing.
I mean,
and
you have the stories here on the
Yeah.
main wall, and then you go up to the top of that dome, and there are stories being
Yes.
told all over
yes,
in a circular design. I just, how long did it take for them to do this?
and it's lasting. It's
Yeah,
for so many years.
and to preserve it.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's one of the interesting things in Iran is the government is protecting
Yeah.
the minorities, and the religion more or less is free.
Yeah. Yeah. Historically, yeah, we've had our wars with Iran, the Shahs and things like that, going back to before even Christianity and everything, even afterwards. But there was always been some
respect.
kind of a respect
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
peace treaty between them, and the wars were mostly due to other empires, because we were conquered, and we kind of had to fight for that against them. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
But yet there's always been this mutual respect between Persia and Armenia.
Again, exquisite details.
Look at the work on this.
I mean, you can't read each letter. That's
Yeah.
that's where the megapixels.
The
come in.
megapixels, the 100 megapixels kick in.
Yeah.
See?
Beautiful, beautiful. I like I said, anybody who's going to be listening to this on the podcast platform, you guys got to come watch this video, YouTube live. Obviously, this will be up after this as well. This is just amazing.
It's an open gospel, it's amazing what they did. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. The scale of work is unbelievable.
Haraj is saying the interior of the church took for 24 years to
24
finish.
years.
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of detail. Where did they start? Gorgeous, just gorgeous. It's unbelievable. So this is the outside
yeah,
now. Yeah,
this is the outside.
yeah.
Yeah,
And,
has
and
a
you
lot,
That back
again,
then,
has that
yeah.
resemblance to
Yeah.
mosque type
Yeah.
of architecture,
yeah.
right?
And these are the names of the Armenian churches. This is the door. See, not all of them are really exquisite.
Yeah.
So not all 15 of them are magnificent.
Well, the exterior doesn't seem to be anything
Yeah.
thing, but when you go inside of it,
Some of the churches were renovated in the past, and what they did is they renovated it again. So they had to get rid of the plaster.
Yeah, the
So
white.
when they got rid of the plaster, they discovered that there were paintings underneath,
behind it, yeah.
and actually they were hammered before so that the plaster would stick to it. I mean, imagine such
White,
artifact.
hence
yeah.
the term whitewashed.
Yeah,
That's where the term comes from.
artifacts, would be hidden or destroyed. That's what happens sometimes when they take the wrong decision. When you want to renovate something, you keep the old. You don't just plaster it.
Yeah.
Destroy it.
Yeah.
Well, the fact that they
I can't
survived, I mean,
imagine. How do you cover some of this stuff up?
I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, you talking about renovation.
Well, depending on who was in charge, what are you trying to not necessarily cover up? I don't want to sound like conspiracy
not
talk,
cover
but
up, like-
you're trying to hide something from the past based on who's occupying the region and this area and what.
Just that it could also be an ego decision of somebody trying,
That
what?
too.
I'm going to bring my version now.
That too.
The newer, the 2023 model. It's just amazing shots. So beautiful.
Available lights. Most of the time I use available light with tripods because you want to preserve the natural view.
Now, is this the same church or
No, different.
this is a different church? Yeah.
No, actually, that one, yes. From the altar, that one, yes. See, this is
And it's
giving-
constantly showing these paintings are all stories.
yes,
of,
giving
yeah,
Jesus to the temple.
Yeah.
40 days later. Again, the names of the churches, and look at it. It says when it was built on it.
Let me go back.
1621.
Yeah.
Yeah.
400 years ago,
Yep.
Mhm.
pretty much. Wow. Over. Yeah. Oh, that's a
This-
great shot.
This is at night. Yeah.
yeah. And you see the dome.
The way
Oh,
it's lit up.
Yeah.
This is Amenapurkchian Monastery. Again,
Yeah.
different angle.
It's-
I mean, again, like I said, they were smart about it, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to blend in, not
Yep.
to offend, in a way, right?
Yeah. This church is visited at least minimum of 1,000 people per day.
What
1,000
for tourism?
for tourism.
For tourism, okay.
And sometimes they have up to 14,000 people coming in.
You're kidding.
When they have their holidays.
Yeah, they have the holidays. Yeah, especially Easter.
No, not our Easter. Their Easter.
Their Easter. Yeah.
See, at this time, you cannot really venture and take
That's
images.
cool.
That's when they locked the monastery or the church and the compound itself. But as a photographer, I have privileges, which I really appreciate that they gave me, the permission to stay here.
You have the multi-pass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they've known me for many, many years. 3 decades I've been photographing those places. This is interesting. This is an old house that belonged to an Armenian merchant. They rebuilt it as a hotel. This is the hotel that I was staying in. And That's the church. that you
Literally
see.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like walking distance from the church. I want to make a parallel here. The Armenians of Isfahan are investing in buying some of the properties which are close to the church itself or the monasteries,
Yeah.
and rebuilding them as hotels or keeping them within the Armenian compound itself. Unlike what's happening in Jerusalem, where you're trying to land for 99 years a
Yeah.
piece of land.
Yeah.
Here it's the opposite.
Yeah.
They're buying it.
Well, I mean, it's smart.
Yeah.
Smart to do that, right? Keep it within the culture,
You're protecting it.
protecting
Yep.
it, and business wise. I mean, if you can
course.
turn it into a hotel.
way-
and-
the
And
way
also, for the generations not to leave the country,
Yeah.
because what happens if all the Armenians leave Isfahan? I mean, who's going to tend the
Yeah.
house of the Lord?
yeah. That is wow. That is really a good shot.
Look at the way it's lit up, man.
Yeah.
Just
Okay, so these are some of the details that you cannot see with bare eyes from the bottom, from eye level.
Yeah.
So you have really to climb or use a telephoto lens and special time of the day so that the lighting is very good in order to capture these details. That's what happens when you burn in hell.
Yep. And how high is this? Like on one of the?
The roof.
How far? What was the
Uh,
distance, roughly?
About 30 feet.
30 feet.
Yeah.
So, and did you climb or
I had to climb on top. There's a special
like a balcony type of?
balcony
Yeah.
that you get into from the window.
Yeah.
But the space is about 20 inches. So if you fall,
That's it.
Verge.
But you got the shot.
Yes, you'll be buried forever there.
But you got the shot.
Yes, I got the shot. Here, the tablets that Moses is getting, and the covenant,
unbelievable the detail work.
Oh, look at that.
I mean,
Just
this
look at that.
This is nuts.
this is what I'm saying.
This is crazy.
From the bottom, this is what you will see. But once you start taking images
Individual.
of each inch or corner,
Literally
Yeah.
every pixel almost.
yes.
It's
it's important. Yeah. But I was surprised on this trip because in the following pictures you will see what I hadn't seen before. Those are interesting details. Again.
okay. So we got to go to the next slide.
You could get lost looking at all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's you're not focusing on, like you said, individual panels.
Yeah.
There's so much going on.
Yeah.
I love that you did this is for people to visually see what we're
Yeah.
talking about from Nakhichevan to
Yeah. From
Isfahan.
southern.
Oh yeah,
southern
it's further
Armenia
south.
to-
It's further south than Tehran.
Yes. So this is where Isfahan is.
Okay.
And the reason I went to Isfahan is one of the gentlemen, I think, asked a question, what projects I'm working on. So the following picture will tell you exactly what I'm working on. Here it is. You see
it's the manuscripts.
You see the manuscripts in my back on the table.
Yeah.
And I'm photographing another manuscript set up
in Isfahan.
in Isfahan.
and how many manuscripts are we talking about?
They were very generous because I had asked 28 manuscripts from the museum to be ready for photography, and I flew in. They were ready for me, so I photographed 28 manuscripts from the museum itself because you have to get the manuscripts out
Yeah.
of those displays.
Yeah.
And since they knew who I was and what I was doing, they were generous enough to cooperate, and it's mutual cooperation.
Of course.
That we do. And the project is the following page. You will see each manuscript is different, and it comes from a location. It has an origin. It has a birthplace. And what I'm trying to do is marry the origin of the manuscript and the manuscript itself. So this manuscript, this one, for example, it could be from Van, And I have to go to Van and photograph the church in Van and put this manuscript along with the church itself.
Yeah.
So on and on. So from Artsakh to Armenia to Western Armenia to Cilicia, I'm trying to marry the two together, the monastery, the church, or the village where these manuscripts were located. And what's really interesting is the following page. The manuscripts have colophons, the dates, the location, and for whom it was prepared. So that's why I can match and mix together the two items, the church and the monastery.
So you said like one of those manuscripts was from Van, but it's in Isfahan.
Yes, exactly. Okay. That's a good point, because we have manuscripts in more than 14,000 manuscripts in Matetanataran in Armenia, and we have at Echmiadzin, we have in Antelias, Lebanon, we have in Syria, we have in Jerusalem, St. James Monastery, we have it at the Mkhitaryan's in San Lazzaro, Venice, in Vienna, and in the United States and other places. So I'm trying to get as many images of manuscript as possible. So I've been doing this for three decades now, and photographing.
Have you gone to Venice?
Of course,
you have.
Many times,
have you taken pictures of the manuscripts of Queen Talmud?
Of course.
Okay, we need that. That's our next episode.
No,
no?
No, I can't, because
oh my God! Come on, I tried.
You tried.
No,
I tried.
No, I can't, because I don't want to have any issues with the
monasteries. Yeah,
itself, because it's they have allowed me to photograph these manuscripts for a specific project. And I cannot really.
No, I understand. I was just trying to.
Without even without that, I'm having problems with the institutions, because
really,
yes.
Why don't they want them to be seen? I don't understand. Like for the public to see. Is it for them to go there and see it? Is that the whole point?
No, there are many issues, and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay,
it's another issue which will take a long time. it's going to take a long time to just talk about those
political, almost.
Political too. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Look at the beautiful, this is the concept that I'm working on right now. You saw an image of an entire page of a manuscript, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'm trying to have an assistant cut them out. Harut from Armenia is cutting out those manuscripts so that the viewer will see the details of that manuscript. If I show you the complete manuscript, you will not see all these details. So some of the images that I'll be using in my book will be close cut. Like this.
Okay, got it.
Again, you can go a little bit faster. You will see here different scenes. This is the baptism. See, each manuscript had its scribe and also the illuminators, those who painted those manuscripts. And they differ from region to region. Like Vaspuragan is different, Cilicia is totally different, Artsakh is different. So they had different schools, now, different styles.
These manuscripts, is it pretty much the same story in a way being told?
Yes.
It's the same thing.
There are different types of manuscripts, by the way. We have what we call hymns.
We know the hymns.
You want to chant, etc. And then you have the Bible. And then you have the Gospels. So there are different types of manuscripts, and not all of them have illuminations. But they are important for their locations as well. So I will be including some manuscripts where you will not see any illumination.
Got it. Okay.
But you will see their
Very
location.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, some of the beautiful.
Now, for example, how old is this one again?
At least 400 years.
400 years. Yeah. What is the oldest manuscript that you have taken a picture of?
7th or 8th century.
7th or 8th century.
Yeah.
Back when they were just reviving.
Yeah.
Actually, there are older manuscripts, but what they did is when they were restoring manuscripts or they were binding manuscripts, what they did is they took older manuscript pages or parchments actually, and they fold them up and they use them as dividing paper or dividing parchment for the manuscript itself. So those are older than the manuscript that they are protecting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. See, the style has changed completely. So I want to show also that the illuminators were different. They were not copying the same style in each region.
Look at the work on the right side. I've always been fascinated by how intricate the lettering is. Never gets old.
Just beautiful artwork.
Yeah,
I mean,
just never gets old.
That's St. John. See, this one is older, for example.
yeah, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell already.
See, the style has changed.
And it's more of a. It's a. It seems like it's more of a maybe a hymn or.
No, those are the beginning of gospel.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The beginning, the start pages. Yeah. See, this is another. This is Rugas, I think, or Margos.
Marcos.
Yeah, this is Mark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the evangelist Marcos. See, the style is different now.
Yeah, you can tell it's changing.
So for someone who's really interested in art, the book is going to be jewel. Not everyone is allowed to photograph manuscripts, and it's been a tough road in order to reach this place.
Now, are you going to have an issue with the fact that we're showing these, or no? These are okayed.
No, this is okay. Yeah, because after all, it's going to be published in my book. So
Okay. Now, where is this?
this is the church in Isfahan, and that's the Holy Trinity, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. That's the altar of Amena Perkçenvank that you saw in Isfahan.
Okay.
See, this is the scene of two brothers fighting. You remember?
Cain
In
and
the
Abel.
Old Testament.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel.
They are banished from heaven, Adam and Eve.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is the inside the dome right now. Look how tight the spot
Yeah,
is.
you were talking about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and the railing is like 20-inch high. There's no support. So you have to be really careful not to fall.
Yeah. And can you imagine the artist who
Yeah.
did this? They were working in dangerous condition.
They must have had scaffoldings too at the same time. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now
God.
for this image, when you look at it, you see a complete image, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't notice until I got a close-up shot of the dome. Now, the second shot, you see those white little things?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are birds.
What?
Yeah, look at them. Gray and white. Or look what looks
They're
gray.
doves.
Yeah.
Yes. You see, even close-up,
My
you have difficult to
gosh.
see the detail.
I mean, from that distance, you there's no way for you to tell, right?
Exactly.
100 megapixel camera.
No, I went really up there.
No, but what I'm saying is, let's put the camera aside. If you're there
Yeah.
visiting and you're looking up, there's
Yeah, no,
way
you
for
wouldn't be able to
yeah,
pick up on this from like how high you think this was based on from ground level.
like
Yeah,
about
30
30 feet,
yeah.
same. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to pick
Yeah.
this up, not with that kind of detail.
Look at that. See, that's the importance of publishing books.
Yeah.
Because not a tourist can really reach these places.
Yeah,
And
they can't
even the locals who have been tending the church for 30 years or 40 years, for example, look at that. So,
That looks like more than 30 feet.
no, it's about 30 feet. It's a
Well,
wide
you're
angle lens.
you're
it's
look,
a wide
the angle that you're
Yeah.
taking a photo from.
You've seen this in the
Yeah.
past, yeah. So I try to wrap it up a little bit. Surpagop Church, one of the first churches in Isfahan. This is
I mean-
Saint Bethlehem. again,
the close-up.
inside, inside the altar.
You know what amazes me is like besides doing that painting, let's say the fillers, that all that time it took to fill those patterns
Yeah,
over and over and over. And they didn't make it even boring. Like they did the
Yeah.
pattern and they put something else in there and then continue with the pattern.
it's amazing.
I could tell you right now, these days, no one's gonna spend that kind of time trying to replicate
no.
that many
Oh, no.
patterns outside of the main
no.
piece of artwork.
Well,
No,
think of
but
it like this.
Maybe one or two will do, but
but
yeah,
rarely.
yeah,
Yeah,
Rarely,
but back
it doesn't
then,
exist
first of all,
anymore.
you know,
Really,
again,
really stonemasons
yeah.
that have kept that practice for centuries, let's say, and that's it.
yeah,
Everything's
but you
machined
can't
up.
compare the life back then to the life now. I mean, again, they didn't have the fast-paced life of what we have. They didn't have
Sure,
the technology.
but-
So when they were commissioned to do something like this, they knew it was going to take 20 years and they worked on it. That was their mission and they got it done. Now, if somebody's commissioned to do something like this, it's all about how fast can I do it to get paid, you know. Just like, oh, do I do this in 20 years and get 100,000 or do I do this in, you know, a year and get 100,000? So it's like that's what it is.
Time
It's
is money.
Time is money. You know, our fast-paced life with technology and everything, you cannot compare the times.
A lot of these mosaics come in
Yeah.
sheets now.
See, the other churches are not like ornate as much as the
Yeah.
other ones.
Yeah, it almost looks like a dedicated space.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at the difference. See the
Yeah.
contrast between.
This is just unbelievable.
And I would spend hours and hours photographing and always discovering something that I had missed last time.
Now, will you be going back to
Of
take
course,
more
of course.
pictures?
Because we have to publish a book just about the particular church that has so many drawings or paintings.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
And
that.
this is the map of
Yeah.
Yeah,
the grounds, huh?
Yeah, of the Amena Bank in Isfahan.
Well, that's
it.
That's it as far
Yeah.
as Isfahan.
Wow.
That is amazing. I don't know what to say. Honestly, part of me like wishes I was there with you.
I
all the
mean,
travels that you've
well,
done.
it's amazing learning about. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff I didn't know about. Now I'm
I
gonna
didn't
make.
I didn't know about it either.
But because of you, I mean, honestly, at some point in my life, I want to go see this stuff.
See, it's very important because when I was a kid at school, when the teachers were teaching us about Armenian history, geography, and stuff, the books didn't have images in them, or
No.
if they had, they were black and white.
Black and white
you
images,
could
yeah.
hardly see, and they were fuzzy and small.
Yeah.
So I didn't learn anything about Armenian history at that point. So now I can write Armenian history with images,
Images,
for
yeah.
the coming generation,
Yeah.
so that they
Absolutely.
can learn faster and better.
Visuals are everything.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about that all the time when we're doing these episodes where we're talking about, you know, certain kingdom or whatever was taking place. I'm sure in his head it's a different visual. In my head it's a different visual, but I wish there was something to connect to it, you know,
To
like
be able to show.
like
know?
last episode we were talking about you know, Gagi Kartruni. There's never been a paint and this was in the, you know, in the 10th century already. Like there was no paintings of him, nothing. Like and it's sad that we don't have this to be able to connect, you know, something to them and be able to tell their stories.
Turn those images in your mind.
At least this way, all these artifacts and all these churches, manuscripts have been saved through your photos. Now the next generation can connect it and see it and visually help them.
Not only the next generation now, it's also
Forever.
important now. You know,
But yeah, of course. But you know, for us, like we're seeing it, we're you know, we're amazed by it and we appreciate it and everything. But I would want my kids to see this stuff, you know, because they're the next ones growing up.
Yeah.
Your grandchildren, right? So
unfortunately, if you look at the world right now, not all the nations, Germany, Italy, France, everybody is not really too much interested in their own culture.
yeah,
Now everything is like fast. You know,
Yeah.
with Instagram, Facebook, and
Yeah,
whatever,
TikTok.
you,
Yeah, 10 seconds. 10
immediate
seconds.
satisfaction.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're flying. But
Yeah.
very few people will be really interested in my books, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'll do it. I'll complete my mission, and I'll
Yeah. Maybe we'll make a Instagram version of it so they can just
so
go
that
boom,
can go
boom.
fast.
I kind of beg to differ. I'm not trying to get into the topic. I feel like people at some point will get to an understanding of where they came from, who they are, whatever their culture may be, whether they're Armenian, German, whatever, Celtic, doesn't make a difference. They're gonna want to reconnect.
One day, yeah.
At some point, they grow up. They're fine. Maybe in their late teens, early 20s, they might be phone driven and whatnot. But at some point, you get to an understanding of where did I come from? Who are these people? Something sparks. Something has to happen. It just has to as they get older. And this is what
Again, like
there's evidence.
I think it's
There's
also
absolute
an age thing too. You know, there comes a point when you get a little bit older. You try to, when you're trying to find yourself, trying to find what you're going to do in life and anything, you start, you know, exploring, and maybe something like this, they see it in there, like, especially if they've been assimilated, but they know like they're Armenian, right?
Yeah.
And they see something like this and be like, and they say Armenian, wait a minute, I'm
Something
Armenian,
touches
and then touches them, and then they start
Yeah.
researching and more and learn more about their history. So, and again, we do this in English for that purpose.
Yep, that's good.
So
I want to get to the point where last night, for example, Shirley Avidian from Iran, she presented her book about the Armenian churches in all of Iran. So
at St. Leon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I showed you is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
I mean, so we have so much rich history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people are really interested in our history? You know, that's a problem. That's an issue.
Yeah, and that's something we're facing as well. I mean, you know, unfortunately, history is boring to people because they're not patient. The attention span of of this current generation that is alive, and it's not to their fault. It's because of these damn phones that were, you know, created, and Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube videos. I mean, YouTube videos. No one's gonna sit there and watch almost 3 hours of this. They want
true.
instant gratification.
Story tied
Yeah.
into it.
So that's the thing. So you have to make it entertaining, right? So how do you make history entertaining? Two goofballs like ourselves who tell these stories, crack jokes, try to relate it to nowadays how it would be, and make it somewhat fun, right? Because people, they need something to excite them in order to be able to connect with. So
Yes.
that's why we need to make movies that are visually attractive and yet tell a story at the same time to connect them to their history. That's the biggest battle, because, you know, easy thing is picking, you know, if we didn't do history or anything else, it would be very easier, right? Because it's current events and things like that. But that's the challenge. That's why our advantage right now, which we really lucked out, is we are surrounded by amazing historians and people who are providing us this material to tell these stories in English, number one, because nobody has told our stories in English going back from day one to now, in a fun way.
Yeah.
That's the key, is make it fun.
One other option is, like my books, for example, is paper, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we can also have the video version of it.
Yeah.
You know, with not my voice, but somebody else's
Narrated,
voice.
yeah.
Narrated.
Yeah.
You know, it's also possible to have that also to the public, because if they don't want to have the books, they can always go and watch the topics for 15 minutes, 20 minutes
From
tops.
told from other people from other cultures.
That
You know, most of the time.
could happen too.
And
yeah.
it's like, and it's that much. They'll touch on it by this much.
But it
if
has
you really think
it
about
has to be done very professionally
Absolutely.
and very
I can give you one
visually
quality.
visually.
I can tell you one thing: if you find the right person with the right voice to narrate and write something, or whoever can write, there are a lot of YouTube videos that are only pictures, and yet they talk about history. They tell a story. Someone is narrating it. So that's something you might want to look into, possibly to write something for someone to write. Let's say you have a 10-minute video that is Isfahan, right? Let's
Yeah.
say all these pictures. As these pictures are changing, someone's telling a story about them and presenting it. That's another thing to do.
Well, how about Serge Tankian, for example?
Uh-huh.
He has a good voice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And millions of people listen to his voice.
They know his they know his name, they know his voice.
So why not cooperate? I did my job.
Yeah.
I did my mission.
Yeah.
So my material could be added to the video.
to the
With
video,
someone
yeah.
who's going to talk, who's going to do the research.
Yeah. And the music.
Yeah, and the music too. So
Yeah. Peter?
I cannot do everything by myself.
No,
Because a lot of people don't understand the amount of work
Yeah.
that goes through a book. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of research. How did I know that there was a Hachkar in St. Petersburg, for example?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You
even
had
know
to
that.
research it.
I had
yeah.
to research it, and then flying there,
Yeah.
and then getting permission to photograph it. Not a lot of places you are,
Yeah.
you are welcome
You
to
show
photograph.
up and- yeah.
And then those recurring expenses, publishing, printing, and trying
The
to
production
sell
of
those.
it.
Yeah.
The production of it.
And everything is becoming more and more expensive. The shipping, for example, I used to have my book shipped from China to my doorstep for
Yeah.
$1,000. Now
Yeah.
it's $6,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything's gotten expensive. Well, you know what? It's all about networking and connection, and we'll definitely mention it to people. Not
Yeah,
promising
well,
anything, but no, you're right. You did your part, and it's up to somebody. And I'll give you a great example. We have one of our followers, or I shouldn't say followers, listeners, supporters. Our show inspired her to actually connect with an amazing historian in Armenia. Emma, not Emma. My God, why do I keep stumbling on her name?
Teryan.
Teryan.
Is it Angela?
Angela
Teryan.
Teryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
She flew to Armenia, met her, and she is translating her book from Armenia to English, and
Because
they're
she
going
was
to
listening
publish
to
it
our podcast.
because of our podcast.
Good.
And we've gotten so many other things like that. People have been inspired to do something. So maybe somebody will be inspired to connect with you and do something like this with your photography and put some kind of a visual documentary and
I mean, a lot of and he knows I'm a documentary junkie. A lot of the documentaries are old photos being used and
Yeah.
somebody narrating over it. That's
Over
it.
it,
It's not somebody live recording something that they're using the footage of. They're just images that are playing over based off
maybe
of the
some aerial
content.
shots or things like
Yeah,
that.
based over the content that is being shown in that very moment. Same thing. The narration is so important.
Yeah.
The individual
Of
who
course.
speaks and the way they present it with those images.
Yeah.
I mean, just as you did.
Yeah,
Just as you did.
quality.
Yeah,
Everything has to be
absolutely.
quality.
Quality. It has to be done right. It has to be produced right. It's very important. Are you anything coming up you want to mention as far as any type of presentations or the next projects, books?
Well, I'm working on 3 books, like I said, and I'm
well, what are those?
extremely
Yeah.
busy. The first one is 2 volumes about Cilicia. The
Okay.
other one is about
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
the other one is about Akhtamar alone.
Uh-huh.
And the third one is the Armenian manuscripts and their origins.
So it's 4 books in theory.
No, 3.
3.
But you said volume 1, volume 2 for
No, volume 2 and 1 and 2 are in one box.
Oh,
So
in one box.
Let's not.
It's a 2-for-1 deal.
The 1.0 and 2.0.
Okay. All right. When can we expect those?
Next year,
Next year.
hopefully
Next year meaning like next year is like
in a-
2 months.
In a few months?
Yeah.
No, not in a few months, but the end of the 2023.
End of
Okay.
3. Okay.
And Cilicia would be the first, I'm assuming.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's almost there.
You see where I'm going with this, right? Okay.
It's almost there.
How about this? When it's ready, can you come back and we
Sure.
do a show on that?
Anytime.
I'm obsessed with Cilicia. So.
People are
Yeah.
really obsessed about Cilicia. And some of the images that you saw in the video, when you set your foot and you start searching for all those, fortresses, and you succeed in reaching them, because you will not always succeed to reach them. Car breaks down. They will not allow you to go there because they're doing renovation work.
Yeah.
But at the end, when you reach it and you photograph it, the lighting is perfect. The weather is excellent.
Yeah.
It must be the most satisfying feeling.
Yeah. So I'm a rich man. So what I have seen with my eyes so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Infinite wealth.
Yep.
Infinite wealth.
And I'm trying to share with everybody as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, we are thankful we got to finally have you on our show. We have been.
A while.
I have been going back and forth with Hawk since 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the beginning. Well, we started the show. I think it was a couple of.
I think it was the beginning of season 2 or end of season 1. You had mentioned him coming on.
Yeah. Into the mic.
My
Every month.
All in due time.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Originally, we were going to do it via video, and I'm glad that you got to come in and we got to meet you and have you here.
Thanks to Maggie.
Thanks to Maggie. Maggie, thank you. Maggie's amazing. She has
Maggie
connected us with some amazing people, and we are thankful and grateful for it. Let's see what else. Do we have any mentions for this episode? Before we go, the Armenian Komitas.
The Komitas quartet.
The quartet, that's going to be performing
December 9th.
December 9th, and it will be at the let's see, where was it going to be? At the Glendale Presbyterian Church at 7 p.m. If you guys want to go see that, it's going to be a great performance. And you can call 818-265-0506, or I think ticketmiket.com is ticketmiket.com selling those. Yeah. So we're going to be there. So come and enjoy. They're world renowned, and they, they don't come all the time, but when they do, you want to go see them.
It's pretty amazing.
Next week, we were going to be live with a very amazing historian from France who's going to join us, and we're going to talk about
Claude Moutafian.
Claude Moutafian. We're going to talk about the Armenians of Jerusalem. Unfortunately, he fell ill and he wasn't able to make his trip, so we are going to postpone it.
January.
And he'll be here in January, so he'll be live with us in the studio, and it's a very interesting book that we're going to be talking about, again, about the history of Armenians in Jerusalem.
I might add that Claude Moutafian, as a professor, is one of the top professors that I have worked with. And he's very honest, very hardworking, and he doesn't stop working until he finds the right, information. So he doesn't put anything in his books. And he spends years and years researching before publishing a book. We were lucky enough to cooperate together on many books, and especially the Armenians in Romania, the history of Armenians in Romania, and also with the book that he was supposed to launch here, the Armenians of Jerusalem.
I mean, you mentioned the Romanians. I think that's something we might even touch up on as well with him when he's here. Depending as well. Depending how long the show goes, and how long he wants to stay with us. Besides that, I want to mention again the podcast cover contest. We're still having that going, guys. Send us your requests. Reach out to us. We want somebody special to be that winner designing.
Save me the extra work, guys, because he's gonna put me to work.
So if you're interested in working on our podcast cover design, email us at pod@merhersoner.com or on Instagram @merhersoner. Again, you can join our YouTube channel, and there's a join button. You can hit that and learn more about it. There's some cool perks. Support us on Patreon. As always, go to patreon.com/medhersoner. Support the show as little as $5 a month. It helps with production and all the great things we have planned coming up. Follow us on Instagram. I forgot. for the holidays, if I'm sure you guys can see on YouTube that we have the items now. We're able to connect our YouTube to our shop. So starting today for the holidays, there's a promo code which is all in capitals, holidays. If you use that, 20% off on all your purchases. Doesn't matter what you're buying through the website, the sculptures, the t-shirts, the mugs, the canvas that we have of Vartan Mamikonyan, everything 20%
All
off
of it.
for the holidays. Get it as a gift for someone you love. Stock is limited, so we have stock, so whatever you want, go ahead and order it. That was a plug for us.
No, it was
That's
a plug
pretty
for
much
us.
it. Let's see.
And the mic.
Into the mic. Well, I'm trying to produce a show while I'm doing this. So, Hawk, anything else you want to mention, my friend?
I really appreciate that
No,
you gave me this opportunity to
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
we
I'm sure
appreciate
everyone
it.
else did.
well, this was wonderful, and we can't wait to have you back on with the Cilician
Yes.
volumes. It's gonna be great. We wish you safe travels back to Canada, and we will keep in touch. And to everybody else, as we always say, respect one another, love one another. Until the next episode, take care of yourselves.